protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Texans making All-Pro Derek Stingley Jr. the highest-paid cornerback in NFL history. The sides agreed to a 3-year, $90 million extension, $89 million guaranteed. The second NFL record-setting deal in 2 days. Yesterday, Bengals made receiver Jamar Chase the highest non-paid quarterback ever. The team also agreed to a big extension with receiver T. Higgins, but Cincinnati likely moved further away from a championship in the process, says Unsportsmanlike co-host Chris Canty.
I've just never seen a team built quite like what the Cincinnati Bengals are doing win a championship. I mean, you're talking about them having nearly $70 million every single season allocated to 2 wide receivers. I don't know that that's something that's sustainable. I don't know that that formula is going to allow you to build out the roster.
Rory McIlroy won the Players' Championship in a 3-hole playoff against J.J. Spaun. He's the 8th multiple winner of the Players. It's the first time in his career he's won twice heading into the Masters. NBA Mavericks sent Anthony Davis to their G League team to prep him to prepare to wrap up to return from a strained left adductor.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Tuesday, before the tournament tips off, I'll give you my top 5 players you need to know. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
That's right!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Yes, sir. And Mr. Toby. All right, we have got a ton to get to on the show today. Let's begin with LSU football. Tigers were on the practice field on Saturday. It was supposed to be full availability for the media. As we all know, the weather came through Saturday, was expected to be and became inclement, but for as long as the team was practicing outside, they let us stay, and that ended up being about an hour. So we got to watch about an hour of drills. It was full pads on Saturday, the 5th practice of spring. It is worth noting, on Tuesday, the media will get to watch the entire practice, and that is expected to be outside, so looking forward to that as well. But in the hour or so of drills that we got to see, there were some things that absolutely jumped out at you. And listen, you don't have to be a scout, a coach, a trained eye to notice some things. There are no doubt some technical things that the higher your acumen, you'll be able to see. But, like, for example, the first time you go to a practice and you see Patrick Peterson as a freshman and he's 6'1", 210, and he's running a 4.3, you're like, maybe not 210, but you're like, okay, that guy looks like a linebacker who's playing corner and runs like a running back. It was crazy. You just could see it. DJ Pickett, Mansour Delane. I will make a prediction today at 3:04 p.m. Central Time on Monday, March the 17th, and tell you that those two guys will be your starting cornerbacks before the 2025 football season is over. It's just different. If you followed along here, we have charted this drill that LSU does. It's the pass catchers against the defensive back. So wide receivers, tight ends against corners and safeties. And over the past couple of years, that drill has been a comedy of errors for the defense. It has just been an avalanche of wins for the offense. I went back and checked my notes from fall camp, this past fall camp, and there was one of the days they ran the drill, and of the 25 or so reps I charted, I think there were 3 incomplete passes. I mean, the offense just has dominated this drill. On Saturday, I charted 22 reps. Now, it's fast and furious, so I didn't get to chart every single one of them, but I charted 22 reps, and of the 22 reps, only 5 balls were completed. Some of those, there were open receivers. There was one play, for example, where Chris Hilton absolutely dusted DeMarcus Cooley. No, I'm sorry. Jakeem Jackson. I knew it was one of the transfers. It wasn't Cooley. It was Jackson. And Hilton's going to do that to a lot of guys. But Nuss missed him. It was a very windy day, and they were standing in the middle of the field. It was an end zone shot, so it was about a 50-yard pass. And it was a very windy day, and Nuss probably just had to probably felt like he had to just put a lot behind it, and he missed it. But he was open. But 5 balls were complete that I charted. Almost called him DJ Stingley. DJ Pickett, although it feels kind of appropriate considering the contract Stingley just got and what we saw the other day. But DJ Pickett had 3 reps. He won all 3 reps against Berrien Brown, who might be the fastest player in college football. That's what that report was last week. Teron Francis, who's a fellow freshman. Oh, and Chris Hilton won all 3 reps. True freshman in his first spring, won all 3 reps that drill he took. It was impressive to watch Mansour Delane as well, who had impressive wins over Berrien Brown and Teron Francis. Those 2 dudes, you don't have to have played the game. You can just see that's different. The offensive line shuffle continued as well. We saw Braylon Moore and DJ Chester both take reps at starting with the ones at center and at right guard. Seeing Braylon Moore take reps at guard was interesting. Cohen Eccles even took a few snaps with the first unit at right guard. So Brian Kelly's talked about it. That's a pretty fluid situation on the offensive line, and I believe him. I mean, everything suggests that, and you don't even have Josh Thompson here yet. Remember, the Northwestern transfer, we reported last week he's still in Evanston. Their quarter ends on this coming Friday, the 21st, and then he'll be here for the second half of spring. So we reported that over at louisianasports.net. You can get my full write-up of the practice report, by the way, at louisianasports.net. Some other takeaways. There are 2 transfers that physically just pop, and they're impossible to ignore. Bauer Sharp, the tight end from Oklahoma, Jack Pyburn, the defensive end from Florida. It's just noticeable that those are guys that are 4th and 5th year guys that are physically filled out and immediately ready. One of the things Brian Kelly said when he was asked about the transfers after practice was kind of about I think this is 17. It was kind of about their mindset in coming here, and this made a lot of sense.
And these guys are, they're here to win a championship. I mean, you go out there today, I don't know, you guys are at practice, right? I mean, you don't hear a bunch of talking. I mean, it is business. I mean, they are here to win a championship, and they take their craft serious. They go to work, and it's fun.
Bauer Sharp, I was told, by the way, he's wearing number 10. Paul, you can keep rolling that video if you want back screen. Bauer Sharp, when they went inside and continued the scrimmage, I was told they hit him on a couple of seam routes, and he is just they ran a lot of 2 tight end sets, and I think this is something we are going to see a ton of. Tradez flexed, Bauer Sharp attached. Both of those guys are going to have a key role. It's just very obvious. You're not taking these 2 guys off the field. They both create mismatches in different ways. My goodness, is it going to be fun to watch these guys as they progress. But what Brian Kelly said there about the transfers was very appropriate. Like, it's true. And I'm not going to say that because you don't have guys hooping and hollering and being loud, that's a good thing, because in fall camp, we told you the story about Blake Baker, catching a ball on the sidelines, dropping one and getting down doing push-ups, and all the guys were energized. There's a lot of different ways about it. But when you hear a guy like Jack Pyburn, who's been here, now only for 5 practices and is already a vocal leader on the team, that is impressive. We got to see, and this is, if there was one disappointing part from Saturday, it was that they were starting to do their scrimmage period, 11-on-11, full pad, full contact, and we got to see 4 plays. The Lightning came, they went inside and finished the scrimmage inside. But the 4 plays we saw, first play, Caden Durham stretch around left end, turned it for about 15 yards. Second down, the second play, they ran a read option with Garrett Nussmeier, who kept the ball for about a 20-yard gain around the right side. You'll all be very happy to know. Joe Sloan actually turned back and looked at the media and was like, even y'all like that, huh? The third play, Caden Durham took a handoff to the right side. Austin Osbury, who's playing the star, beautiful, filled the gap, stuffed Durham right at the line of scrimmage. And then on the fourth play, Tamarcus Cooley, who's kind of playing the nickel safety, they ran a 10-yard out for Aaron Anderson, and Tamarcus Cooley had great coverage and knocked it down. They're just better defensively, y'all. Like, the talent, it's just so obvious. As bad as they were at safety a year ago, in part because of Jordan Gilbert's injury, in part because they had guys that just weren't good and that you were young at corner and spots. They're just better. Like, they're better. When they went 11-on-11, these were the starters on the first-team offense. Nuss at quarterback, Durham at running back, Tradez at tight end. Your receivers were Xavion Thomas, Chris Hilton, Aaron Anderson, and your offensive line left to right was Adams, Mubenga, Chester, Bordelon, Davis. That was the ones when first-team offense. Defense, your ends were Relaford and Pyburn. Your tackles were Don McKinley and Ahmad Bro. Your linebackers were West Weeks and Devon Keys. Austin Osbury played the star. Your first-team cornerbacks were Ashton Stamps, Jakeem Jackson, and then the safeties were Toviano and Cooley. Again, that's just what they started with for the plays we got to see, but looking forward to getting out there on Tuesday and seeing much more as we get out there. Any other notes that I had? Tyler Miller, Brett Bordelon, Ori Williams, all were not participating. Jordan Gilbert, Brian Kelly confirmed afterwards, out for the entire spring. He had shoulder surgery. So we'll continue to watch all these guys progress here throughout this spring. But 5 practices in the books, and it was nice to get an extended look at the guys on Saturday on the Ponderosa. All right, y'all, it's After Further Review. Our show open every day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of the LSU Tigers. If you're getting out to the box or watching at home, make sure that you're watching the Tigers all year long with plenty of ice-cold Bud Light. And, of course, it is buds and boils time of year. Got that crawfish boil. Nothing goes with the great taste of crawfish like crisp and refreshing Bud and Bud Light. Pick it up today at great retailers. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR. Okay, Will Clapp, former Tiger, former Saint, current Saint. Former 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge intern. Will Clapp joins us next. It's AFR.
After Further Review.
Man, I love telling you about our friends over at River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime, and they always go above and beyond, man. Actually, as a matter of fact, had a relative this weekend whose AC went out, had an issue with a part that was under warranty. River City's 1 Hour Air went out there on the weekend, got them up and running. There was a little bit of an issue, took care of it, called my buddy Matt Rick. No worries. They're just so responsive, and they're going to take great care of you, give you exceptional customer service. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. Look for the big yellow vans and truck with the giant clock on the side. That's why I always encourage you, y'all, if you have an issue with your AC that you may not know about, right? I mean, your thing's been dormant there for months. Like, we're getting into the warm weather months and you're going to be using it. Wouldn't you rather know now if you've got a brewing issue that you could take care of, your preventative maintenance, as opposed to waiting for it to be 110-degree heat index and your AC goes out? Call River City's 1 Hour Air preseason AC tune-up. Call for it today. 752-0001.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
There it is, the extra mile. on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
When you can't rely on technology, you can rely on them.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Best free agent signing of the offseason. Former New Orleans Saint, again, current New Orleans Saint. Former Tiger Will Clapp's coming home, good enough to jump board with us for a couple of minutes. How are you, dude?
What's going on, Matt? Thanks for having me on.
Dude, it's our pleasure, man. I know a lot of people are fired up to have you back in the black and gold, man. Let's start with the obvious one, man. How did this come together to get you and the Saints here with this reunion?
Yeah, I mean, I was wondering with Kellen being hired and the staff when it got put together, I thought there would be an opportunity, and about 2 weeks ago they reached out and it came together pretty good.
How does something like that, how does that work, right? So you're in Buffalo and you're going to be a free agent. So is that like your agent having a conversation? When are you made aware? Like, it was directly with you? Would you have interest? Like, how does that all come together?
I still keep up with some of those coaches and, talk to them every so often, throughout the year you play those guys and see them on the field. So you still keep a relationship up, but my agent did reach out to me probably, like I said, 2 weeks ago and said, hey, the Saints are interested in bringing you back. And then from there, just moved into dialogue until the deal got put together.
So whenever you look at the opportunity to come to your hometown again, I mean, was it an easy decision, Will? Did you look around with other options as well? Or when the Saints, made you the offer, was like, done, I'm going home?
No, it was definitely just like, hey, let's get this done. I was excited to be home. Had a fun year in Buffalo, but my family didn't travel with me last year, so I was like, get to stay at home, be with my kids. I mean, everything about it just lined up to be perfect. Love the staff that's going to be in New Orleans, so there was like no other option for me at that point when they told me they were interested.
Yeah, man, and you're a dad now too. For those that haven't been keeping up, which is awesome, congratulations on that. I mean, what's it been like, man, for you? Just this phase of life. So it's probably been a couple of years since we've talked to you, man, but being a dad and going through that phase of life and getting to come home with your kids now?
Man, it's been awesome. I mean, my daughter loves, coming out to practice and running on the field and doing that. So, making those types of memories with her. And my son's 8 months old, so he's really, just along for the ride right now. But, we're trying to make as many memories as we can and, win as many games as possible while doing it.
That's awesome, man. Will Clapp's our guest. What about your family? I would assume that your folks still live in New Orleans. What was your family's reaction whenever they learned you were coming back?
Everybody was just so fired up. I mean, those 3 years I was 2 in LA, 1 in Buffalo. I mean, the family loves, traveling and going to see me, but, every week, being able to have that support system here for me is definitely a game changer. And I'm just excited to be back in town with all of them.
Will Clapp's our guest. So you mentioned knowing the staff, right? So the 2 years you were in LA, correct me if I'm wrong on this, Will, but you had 2 years with Staley and 1 year with Kellen Moore in LA. Was that right?
Yeah, Kellen was the OC my last year in LA.
Okay, tell me a little bit about, I'll get to Kellen Moore in a second. Let's start with Staley because that's kind of an unknown as well. What was it like playing for Brandon Staley? If you describe him as a coach, what would you say?
Brandon is like a great defensive mind, like super smart. Getting to do some of the scout team reps over on his side of the field when I was backing up center over there, just hearing how he communicates with the defense. He sees the game at such a high level, and it's kind of crazy how he talks about like mixing and disguising coverages and blitzes. I mean, I felt like I actually learned like a lot of stuff from him just about how defenses think when you stand by him on the field. What
about Kellen Moore? Obviously the OC the year or the final year there. What can you tell us about him?
It's by far my favorite offense I've ever played in. Not just saying that because it's just fun there, but like truly is my favorite offense I've played in through college or pros. Everything is, fast, to the point. There's not, everything has a meaning. It's not like, crazy wordy where you see something like everything he puts in this offense is like to the point. And, we just had a bunch of fun under him. I mean, that was my main, memory from playing with him with the Chargers. And I'm excited to get back to it.
Do you find him, Will, just being a younger coach, right? He's 36, youngest head coach in the NFL. Is there a relatability there? Do you make anything of that good, bad, either way?
No, I think most of it is just being an effective communicator, which he is. Like, he's very good at like laying out like bullet points every week. Like, hey, these are the expectations of the game plan. Like, this is what we're gonna do. The games that we didn't have great games. I mean, he didn't like nothing went unaddressed. It was like, hey, like this is why we didn't perform to our standard. Like X, Y, and Z is the reason, and this is what we're gonna do to fix it. And when you lay those things out to players, it really sets a clear and defined picture of like how we're going to go about this.
A couple more minutes here with Will Clapp, a former Tiger, current Saint, the team that drafted him. Crazy to see this all come full circle. Also, your teammates again now with Devon Gottschall, who the Saints signed. I'm assuming, have you spoke to Devon since you've been back in New Orleans?
We played him week 18 this past season, so I talked to him on the field after that. But not since then. Is there, I would assume there's a level of excitement there to get to play with your former teammate, man, but just a little bit about that relationship, y'all getting to play together? Yeah, it's been funny. I mean, he's been a great run defender in the league for, we're both going on year 8 now, so, or he's a year 9 actually, left a year before me. So, I mean, he's been a great run defender, very respected in the league. I'm excited to get back with him. Yeah, and I mean, I think there's a good bit of Saints or LSU players on the Saints now. I mean, when I was first drafted, it was like a big deal that because no LSU guys had been there for a while, and now I think there's like 5 or 6 of us.
Yeah, but so you were the first, I believe, since Al Woods for LSU player to be drafted. Before that, I think it was Devery, like in 02 or 03. But yeah, man, there's a handful. Foster's another one, obviously. Like, you're a Brother Martin guy. Foster's a Jesuit guy. You both went to LSU. I mean, have you talked to Foster about since you've been back?
Yeah, I talked to Foster a good bit. He was, a good friend of mine in college. Was a groomsman at my wedding. So
cool.
I've been, I texted him before. If you don't know Foster, he's like awful at picking up the phone. So I called him like a week before I went in to sign. I was like, hey, like got the deal done. I think I should be in like next week. He never answered. So I finally texted him. I was like, hey, it's happening. And he's like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Sorry I missed your call. I'm like, yeah, bud.
Wait, so groomsman, you had the deal done for a week before he knew because he didn't answer the phone? Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Well, good things those who wait, I suppose. Hey, man, it's one more. Like, as far as the team itself, obviously it was a struggle this year. There was a lot of injuries. There's a lot of different directions that the team could go this year. But just a thought on being with Derek Carr, the new coaching staff, just the organization now as opposed to what it was when you left three years ago.
Yeah, man, I'm excited to see where this organization's at. I mean, we, there obviously was a high standard set, a couple of years ago, and I think this group is going to be excited to, set our own standard in our own way and make it the Saints football that people are used to seeing.
A lot of people are excited to have you back in Louisiana, man. Congrats on the homecoming. Can't wait to see you in the black and gold coming up in the fall, man. We'll talk soon, all right?
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
No, it's our pleasure. Thank you for the time. That's Will Clapp. Of course, New Orleans native, Brother Martin, LSU, drafted by the Saints, Chargers for a couple of years, Buffalo last year, now back in New Orleans. How about that? He said as soon as he knew this was a possibility, he didn't even want to entertain other offers. Like when he had the opportunity to come home, it was like, let's get home. Married, couple of young kids, said his son's 8 months old now. And just good dude. I'm fired up for it. And listen, there's a personal side of that we can all love that signing. Like we could all love the Saints trading for Devon Gotcha and so on. But there's some free agent moves that the Saints have made that I've not been a fan of. This one I love, both off the field and on the field. Will Clapp is a veteran who is versatile, can play center or either guard spot. He could be a rotational guy for you as a rotational backup or a spot starter, or he could start for you at a spot. He is obviously very cerebral. He knows this coaching staff. He knows Kellen Moore's offense. You just heard him talk about that. He's a free agent, so you didn't have to give up an asset to get him, and you got him on a relatively inexpensive deal. Like, these are the types of deals that, in my contention, the Saints need to be doing. The personal component of Will Clapp notwithstanding, that's just a bonus for me. But that's a veteran player, a versatile player, a good locker room guy who can play multiple spots for you and is affordable. So I love that. It's not the kind of signing that's going to change your roster, right? It's not like you went in free agency and like the Bengals adding Trey Hendrickson, like where you're going to add that massive impact guy at like the key impact position on your defense. But that's the type of signing that you absolutely have to make if you're New Orleans. I'd say the same thing about trading for Devon Gotcha. New defense, fits the mold of your defense, familiar with the staff. You got him on. You gave up a future 7 to get him. I mean, all those things just check the box of those types of deals. So love it. Happy to have Will Clapp back in the black and gold. All right, y'all. It's After Further Review. Monday shows are brought to you by Relief Windows. Always love telling you about First South Farm Credit. Thinking of buying land? Your first call should be to First South Farm Credit, because for more than 100 years, First South Farm Credit has helped Louisianians buy land since 1916. Doesn't matter if you're trying to buy 20 acres in Clinton or St. Francisville or Zachary to build your family's dream home. Maybe as you're starting to think about next year's hunting season, you're tired of sharing that lease, you want to have your own property, First South Farm Credit can make that happen. FirstSouthLand.com. Start there, FirstSouthLand.com. With more than 40 branches in Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, there's a branch near you so you can do business with people near you. It's First South Farm Credit. Go to FirstSouthLand.com, FirstSouthLand.com. Okay, y'all, it is After Further Review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. Mark Wise in 32 minutes from right now, ESPN college basketball analyst. Brackets have been set, 14 SEC teams in the field. We'll get a 10,000-foot view, some big high-point takeaways of the NCAA tournament field coming up here in about a half an hour from right now. David Dellucci in hour number 3. The LSU baseball team gets a sweep this weekend over Missouri. Texas swept Mississippi State this weekend, so your opponent coming up this weekend on the road also got a sweep. And how about Tennessee? Tennessee sweeps Florida. So that's a juggernaut, man. Tennessee's the best team in college baseball right now. I think that is the rabbit that LSU is chasing right now in college baseball. Tigers have a lot to improve upon coming off of that weekend. I'll give you some takeaways of the series here in about 45 minutes from right now with LSU and Missouri. It's great to start 3-0, but a lot of improvement. You got to find more strike throwers on this team, and you really haven't been challenged yet by an elite arm, that changes this weekend. So we're going to learn a ton about this LSU baseball team here in the next 7 days. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're here. We'll knock out a quick break, come back and go around the SEC on AFR.
After Further Review.
GLO, glowresources.com, glowresources.com, complete employer solutions. Glow, synonymous with helping businesses grow. If you want to help your business grow, you need Glow, GLO, glowresources.com, glowresources.com. At Glow Resources, they are complete employer solutions. Remember, if you're trying to find the people to make your business more effective and more efficient, Glow Resources can help. They've been doing that now from sea to shining sea and internationally. Yes, I love the fact that their corporate headquarters are in Baton Rouge. Their office right there on Perkins Road near Pennington. But they got offices all over the country, serving businesses quite literally all over the world. So if you need skilled blue-collar labor, if you need C-level management, if you need office assistance in an accounting firm, it doesn't matter. Glow Resources will find the people to make you more efficient. Give them a shot. They're online at GLO, glowresources.com.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you. Serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances.
After Further Review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
AFR OGs know Craig Alamon. Hey, Matt, when does Mama Scone's bracket come out? I need some advice. Very astute point, Craig. Except for the fact that in the decade or so I've been going head-to-head with my mom in the bracket challenge. She's only won twice, all right? Which means overwhelmingly her bracket stinks, which is the point. Actually, the point is to prove that she actually can beat me sometimes, because it really doesn't matter if you know anything about anything college basketball, because none of us actually know anything when it comes to filling out brackets. You just do the best you can, and we'll see. But anyways, yeah, so we'll have Mama Scone on. I believe it'll be Wednesday that we normally do, the day before, instead of allow some of the play-in games. But y'all have Mama Scone on this week. We'll do the bracket challenge. For those that are unindoctrinated, I go head-to-head with my mom in a bracket challenge every year. We always say we're going to have some type of wager. We never actually come up with anything. Sometimes I let you all decide, but we never actually agree upon anything. But it's just a thing. We'll go head-to-head, me and my mom. She'll talk about squeaky shoes. Now she knows nothing about basketball. And for some reason, it's endearing, and people want her to keep coming back. So we'll do that. Also, our buddy Lee Feinswag, who's not been here in a long time, I spoke to Lee over the weekend. He will be here tomorrow to make his annual selection of Purdue to win the national championship, which he does every year. It's an AFR tradition, 15 years strong, so we might as well keep it going. So Lee will be with us tomorrow, for nothing else, to pick Purdue and to talk about beers up in the New England area, where he's spending much of his time now near family. So we'll look forward to having Lee as well tomorrow. All right, it is After Further Review. Glad to have you hanging out with us here. Do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference. The Georgia Bulldogs.
Injury bug has bitten Georgia freshman wide receivers this spring, and Tyler Williams is the latest. Posted on social media, he suffered torn ligaments in one of his ankles. 6'1", 210-pound true freshman will have surgery today on Monday, meaning spring practice is over, just a week in. He's from Florida, 3-star receiver for the 2025 class. His freshman season, though, already limited now with the ankle injury.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
Cornerback Jalen Copeland has committed to Arkansas. That's several dozen offers. He's the number 49 cornerback in the country, the number 60 prospect in the state of Georgia. He's Arkansas's second cornerback for the 2026 cycle, joining Jack Duckworth out of Texas.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
Add South Carolina to the list of schools that are not, or that are short players, in spring due to injury. So Carolina will open spring practice with 4 players out. Shane Beamer confirmed on Monday. Tight end Michael Smith, defensive lineman Caleb Williams, offensive lineman Ryan Brubacher, and freshman offensive lineman Damola Ajidahun. Ajidahun. Damola Ajidahun. We're going with that. Yeah, they're all out for spring.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Nate Oates said he's hopeful. Forward Grant Nelson can play Friday against Robert Morris in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Nelson left Saturday's SEC tournament semifinal loss to Florida with a knee injury, did not return, because conference tournaments are awesome like that, right? Nelson suffered a similar injury against Arkansas State in December of 2023, returned 5 days later to play against Purdue. He's a fifth-year senior, the second leading scorer and leading rebounder. So massive loss for the Gators if Grant Nelson is unavailable. All right, there you have it. That is Around the SEC. We're brought to you by Evamore. Drink Evamore, EVAMOR. Better form of hydration if you're an elite athlete like the guys that will be playing in the NCAA tournament, and gals like Cloth and Nuss, the Olympic volleyball players from Louisiana. They're Evamore endorsers as well. EVAMOR. It's a better form of hydration. It's a healthier alternative for your family. It tastes delicious, and it's a Louisiana product. So if you're going to the store, you're going to buy bottled water. Don't buy the crappy, crinkly bottle from Texas. Don't buy the thing that's in the square bottle just because it says it's like a tropical island, so you think it's good. Drink Evamore. Natural artesian water, a healthier product, and a Louisiana product. EVAMOR. Drink Evamore. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. Okay. Let's see. Brian Kelly, after practice on Saturday, met with reporters, and he did confirm that they're going to change the format of the spring game, so it's not going to be a spring game per se. And one of the reasons he was asked about it was if if tampering, this is some Matt Rule said from Nebraska, the reason they're not going to have a spring game is he doesn't want other schools to see his backups and then try to poach him away. Brian Kelly kind of dismissed that idea.
I wasn't worried about that. I mean, I think if you're going to lose a player, it's not because of what they put on film in the spring ball. It's because of what's happened, throughout the entire semester or year. I think that was just an easy soundbite to, get out from under having a spring game. That's just my opinion.
Take that, Matt Rule. Loser jerk. Brian Kelly did talk about, though, why they decided to change the spring game format. And this does make sense. He explains it so well that it actually does seem plausible. I'm not sure I'm completely buying it, but it is a good explanation. Maybe he worked long and hard on it.
As I looked at the spring practice itself and the game, what was more important to me where we are as a football team was to get all of our players an opportunity to get reps. And sometimes you don't get the equal amount of reps in a spring game. We have some young players that need some practice time, and this will give everybody an opportunity. You don't have to worry about splitting the squad. You don't have to worry about some of the nuances that splitting it up and having two teams sometimes make it difficult for you to get the matchups that you want. I can simply go ones versus ones and have some really good matchups that we can test our players.
Okay. In part of that explanation, he talked about how last year they had to use practice 14 to get ready for practice 15, which was the spring game. And so they kind of lost practice 14 using that just to get ready for practice 15. Now he gets the full allotment of all 15 practices to maximize the productivity. Again, that makes sense. I don't hate that explanation. Because you only get 15 practices. So if you want to maximize your time on the field in all 15 practices, okay, I get it. I don't necessarily know the downside of having a spring game. You could get injured in practice if you're going full speed. You get injured in a spring game. The thing that I would probably want to avoid is the splitting of the roster. If you were going to go out there and scrimmage ones on ones, twos on twos, like that's the kind of thing I think everybody would like to see if you're going to see it. But, what can you see in a controlled situational practice? I don't know. Look, last year they did this. They went into Tiger Stadium and, they opened with a full 20-minute period of goal line, and they were doing a lot of situational type stuff. They practiced, quote unquote, for about an hour. They did special teams and goal line before they actually went into the scrimmage. So I don't know that it's going to be any different this year than what we saw a year ago. Maybe they're just calling it something different than the spring game, so to speak. In any event, I think it's fine, whatever they're going to choose to do. You want to have a spring game or don't, I don't care. The one cool thing Brian Kelly did announce that they're going to do that they haven't done. Someone will have to correct me on this. I really don't know the last time they did this. I know they did this when I was a child, but he said they're going to have an on-field autograph session in Tiger Stadium after the game, after the spring game, spring practice. So, I remember as a kid, this was probably 1990, 90 or 91. Harvey Williams was the star that everybody wanted his autograph. And the line, I remember Harvey was sitting in a chair. So they had chairs for all the football players. Their chairs were sitting on the field, around the perimeter of the field. And you go out, get in line to get a player's autograph, right? And they gave you schedule posters. They handed out the schedule posters, and you can go get an autograph. And Harvey Williams was the autograph everybody wanted. And Harvey was sitting on the east sideline, around near the north end zone around the goal line. And the line for Harvey went clear across the field out the tunnel, toward the west parking lot. It was a massive line. I can't remember if we actually stood in line there. But I did get Todd Kinchin's autograph, which is cool. Have a picture of me and my brother with Todd Kinchin. And oddly enough, my later high school coach, Dale Weiner, was in the background of that photo because he coached Todd in high school. I think they were just kind of hanging out together for a little bit. So now you know the rest of the story. That trip down memory lane Brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Energy efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank vinyl siding. They do it all. They do it better than anyone at Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. All right, let me knock out a quick break, y'all. Wrap up hour number one when we come back. The LSU basketball team passes on the NIT. We broke that news at LouisianaSports.net yesterday. I got some thoughts on it. We'll get to it next here on AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com, yourgoodwood.com. Gents, if you want to feel like your younger self, hormone replacement therapy could be the solution. Yes, they also do ED treatment and a lot of other menu of services that you could learn more about at yourgoodwood.com, yourgoodwood.com. But the most basic thing I can encourage you to do is go get that blood test. Go get that blood test. It's a simple blood test. And they'll let you know your testosterone levels before you leave the office. So you can know if you're a candidate for HRT. And maybe it's testosterone. Maybe it's growth hormone, something like Sermorelin that you might need to supplement. The point is, I say this to you all the time. As we age, every one of us, our bodies produce less of the hormones that contribute to how we feel. There are no exceptions to this rule. We all age at different levels, so in different rates. A simple blood test can let you know if you're a candidate to feel like your younger self. yourgoodwood.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
You gotta believe in the dream. Believe. You gotta believe in the dream. Believe. You gotta believe. Whole team on wildin'.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Derek Tingley Jr. has agreed to a 3-year, $90 million deal in Houston.
Shout out my guys.
Shout out your
guys. Both of those are my guys. David Margetta, shout out those guys.
That's your guy too?
Yeah, and
all right, athletes first.
Athletes first. Shout out the guys. Man.
All right, $89 million of that is guaranteed. This according to our Ian Rappaport.
Wow. 30 a year? Ooh, DB's getting paid like that? Wow. Whoa. I think the last DB was just getting 25 or something like that, 30.
That was Derwin James on Good Morning Football as the news was breaking that Derek Stingley was getting broke off to the tune of $30 million per. Richest deal ever for a defensive back. Coming on the same day when Jamar Chase got his deal done. Sunday evening worth $161 million over 4 seasons. That's $40.25 million annually, the highest ever for a non-quarterback. Stingley and Jamar Chase both getting broke off. Derwin James also followed up, talking a little more about Stingley's deal.
I mean, we played him in the playoffs. I think he had like a pick or two against us. I mean, he's able to guard your number ones. He can do it all. He can cover, play zone. Got good ball skills, some of the best ball skills at corner. All-around player.
We have a graphic and a piece coming up a little later over at LouisianaSports.net, but been doing some work continuously. This has been a consistent thing about the 2019 team. And if you were to go and add up the career earnings so far for every member of the 2019 LSU football team, with the contracts agreed upon now by Jamar Chase and Derek Stingley, that number is now at $1.170 billion. Y'all, with just Burrow, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Christian Fulton, Grant Delpit, Patrick Queen, Derek Stingley, Damian Lewis, Lloyd Cushenberry, just those alone cleared $1 billion. $1.065 billion. There are 38 other players from that team that made money in the NFL. Aside from those ones I just mentioned, 47 players. 47 of the 85 on the 2019 LSU football team made money in the NFL. And up to this point, that has totaled $1.170 billion. How you doing? I have made this point since the final whistle sounded on that season. And I remember Ryan Clark, before he started doing The Pivot, did a podcast called Face First that I produced for him. And he had Clinton Portis on the podcast spewing some propaganda about 2001 Miami. And the point I made then is the point I made now. Up and down the lineup, 2019 LSU better than 2001 Miami. When people think of 01 Miami, they don't consider 01 Miami. They consider 01, 02, 03 Miami and throw it all in this big conglomerate blob. You forget that the number 2 receiver on 01 Miami was Ethnic Sands. You had Andre Johnson, Ethnic Sands as your top 2 receivers. I think I'd take Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson over those 2. I think I'd take Joe Burrow over Ken Dorsey as well. Thank you very much. And I had nothing on that line. Now, Bryant McKinney was a good player. But Lloyd Cushenberry, Damian Lewis outdid those contracts of those guys. We can go up and down the line. Anyway, point is, the point I made then was history is going to be kind to this team, the 2019 LSU team. Because when these guys go on to the NFL and become all pros and sign the richest deals ever and Hall of Famers, history is going to think back even more like we do now with 01 Miami and go, damn, all those guys were on the same team? And it's going to be even better for 2019. As great as that team was, as made the accolades as they had at the time, history is only going to reinforce that, and you're seeing this now. $1.17 billion already in career earnings for the 2019 LSU team. It's been 5 years. Unbelievable. Actually, it's quite believable because we all got to watch that team. It's the greatest team ever. Brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com. Bumper-to-bumper auto service, name brand tires at wholesale prices. Y'all check out our friends over at Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. Hey, look, if you're thinking or it's about time to buy tires, you need name brand tires at wholesale prices. The best tires at the cheapest price, that's Shawbills. They do it all. okay? Remember, part of the Charlie's Dozen is their price match guarantee. Buy tires at Shaw Bills, find them cheaper somewhere else. They'll refund you 125% of the difference. Like, they are committed to getting you the best price possible on the best tires on the road. Use the Shaw Bills credit card, VIP pricing, 6 months interest-free. You basically get VIP pricing and 6 months to pay for it, interest-free. Shaw Bills. Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service. ShawBillsTire.com. Shaw Bills, where we keep you rolling. LSU basketball declined an invite to the NIT. We broke that news on Sunday over at LouisianaSports.net. And I think there's probably a good amount of I guess there's a good amount of debate on this and whether or not LSU should have played or shouldn't have played. My contention on this is really easy. The reason to play in the NIT would have been if you're trying to build continuity for next year, you had maybe a young team and you wanted to get them experience playing together. I could understand that argument. The bottom line is you have a new team every year. And all we've heard is how they're going to be going and spending NIL money to put together a new roster to be competitive. Okay, well, if that's the case, then I don't need this team to go get embarrassed by a mid-major to play in an NIT game. So, yeah, pass on the NIT, move on toward what's next, which is going and identifying the players in the portal that you're going to be able to pay to come here and have a representative roster that's going to allow you to compete in the best conference in college basketball. Ain't about the NIT, it's about what's next. So move on to it.
AFR.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
You work hard every day to pursue a life you love. You put in the time, and it shows. You're forging ahead, chasing a dream, creating something better for the ones you love. You're building your own life, so why not build your own tractor? With John Deere tractors and attachments for almost any need, the Sunshine team can help you do just that. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Savor game day platters and snacks, plus drink specials at 1717 Kitchen and Cocktail. So come out for game day and let our team make you the MVP. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. One day after a Bengals receiver, Jamar Chase, became the highest-paid non-quarterback in NFL history, Texans All-Pro Derek Stingley Jr. became the highest-paid cornerback ever. 3 years, $90 million for Stingley, $89 million guaranteed. Cincinnati yesterday agreed with Chase and fellow receiver T. Higgins on massive extensions, which Joe Burrow publicly lobbied for in the offseason. He's under more pressure than any other quarterback in 2025, believes ESPN NFL analyst Jason McCourty.
For Joe Burrow, you have to go out there and know that we're going to score every time we touch the ball. We get 9 possessions within this game. We only allow 2 field goals. The rest of them have to be touchdowns. So I think you're going into it. And if you're Joe Burrow, you want that. You come into the league, you've had these guys on your side, and you've been able to make it happen.
Jason McCourty on Unsportsmanlike. Rory McIlroy beat J.J. Spawn in a 3-hole playoff, won the Players' Championship, is the 3rd man to win at least 4 golf majors and 2 Players' Championships in their career. Baseball, Padres ace Yu Darvish might not be available for his first start of the season due to general fatigue.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Tuesday, before the tournament tips off, I'll give you my top 5 players you need to know. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Yusuf. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Tiger baseball swept Mizzou over the weekend. I'll get some thoughts on that here in about 15 minutes from right now. And David Dellucci, the SEC Network, will be here in exactly 1 hour. Selection Sunday has come and gone, wailing and gnashing of teeth, per the usual. Mark Wise, ESPN college basketball analyst, good enough to join us now to break it all down. How are you, man?
Matt, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me back on. I just spent Champ Week in your wonderful state in Lake Charles, Louisiana.
So where is Will Wade going to be coaching next year?
Oh, that's $1 million question. What I said on the broadcast, and I meant this, was McNeese has given him a chance to rewrite his coaching story, but I don't know where the next chapter is going to be.
Do you think there has been I didn't intend to start here, but I will. Do you think there has been a change, talking to people around the landscape of college basketball, in the perception of Will Wade today as opposed to when he was fired by LSU?
I liken it to Kelvin Sampson. Remember, he ran afoul of the NCAA at Indiana by making too many phone calls. And then 5 years later, we all kind of laughed at that.
Right.
It wasn't such a big thing. So I think the same thing's going to happen with Will Wade.
Yeah, Bruce.
I think it will be completely forgotten.
Bruce Pearl with a barbecue, things like that.
Same thing.
Yeah,
Same
no doubt.
thing. Same thing.
It's unfortunately it's to LSU's detriment because a great young coach that was beloved around here had to be let go for something that is completely legal now. But LSU will find their way, we hope, in time. The committee emerged, white plumes of smoke from the Sistine Chapel and all that stuff.
I like that.
Okay.
I like that analogy. Good.
Any egregious errors?
North Carolina. I mean, I'm sure you probably mentioned it. North Carolina getting in with one quad, one win. First of all, let's go back and refresh everybody's memory. The committee asked 4 questions of every team's resume. Who'd you play? Who'd you beat? Where'd you beat them? And the new one, which includes more metrics along the way, is how did you play? Who did you play? North Carolina, I think, 3rd best non-conference schedule in the country. No question. They aced that one. Who'd you beat? They beat no one. Where'd you beat them? Well, if you didn't beat anybody, hard to beat them on the road.
Right.
But they had great metrics. So, in my view, of those 4, the one that still has to mean the most is who did you beat? The answer about West Virginia just made that even more ludicrous when they talked about DeVries being out since December. I'm talking about the son, not the head coach. Mm-hmm. And Drake had 4 quad 1 wins after he was hurt, which is still 3 more than North Carolina had. So to me, that was the biggest thing. Louisville was underseeded at an 8. I think that's a travesty, and I know the ACC was not very good, but you can't have Clemson as a 5 and Louisville as an 8. That made no sense to me. Here's the thing I will say about the committee, Matt, that I truly believe. They get 96% of, and first of all, this is really difficult work. This is hard, man. When you're considering 5 teams for 2 spots, it's hard. They get 96% of it correct every year. But the 4% they get wrong is so loud. It's almost like the easiest one of all. So for me, it starts and ends with North Carolina being in the field.
A lot of people up in arms that the SEC got 14. Did the committee get that right?
Yeah. Sure. Who did you beat? Oklahoma and Texas both had the eyesore of going 6-12 in the SEC, and yet the committee has made it clear all along that your conference record is not in play, that every game means the same, has the same importance. Wins in November means the same thing as wins in late February and early March. So from that standpoint, yeah, I think they got it right.
If you look at the bracket, everyone always kind of looks and says, okay, who got the easy draw, the tough draw? What favorite would you say you'd put on upset alert because it's a sneaky tough matchup?
Well, here's what I will answer to that. Everybody wants to talk about, let's take Florida, for example, because everybody wants to talk about in their bracket is UConn and Texas Tech and Kansas and Arkansas and St. John's, Memphis. Well, guess what? You don't play all those teams. I think that discussion is so overrated in terms of which number 1 seed got the worst draw. You can only play the teams that line up in front of you. It's both the beauty and the curse of the NCAA tournament.
How do you feel about the Gators coming off the SEC tournament championship? Are they a contender here as for the Final Four and for the NCAA championship?
I don't think there's any question about it. I mean, tell me where their weakness is. They've got depth. They play 5 guys for 3 spots in the backcourt. They play 4 guys for 2 spots in the front court. The development of Chinyalu, who is much better than he was in late in the season than he was in November and December. And when you're talking about Condon and Houck coming off the bench, how many teams would Houck not only start but be a double-figure scorer for teams in the tournament? So Aberdeen gives them a depth at the guard that they just. I mean, they're 4 really rich guards in that lineup. Clayton is he's progressed during the year. And Matt, I want to say this: one of the things that we don't spend a lot of time talking about, because it's a lot lost art, is player development. Because player development, we used to think, well, they make big leaps between their freshman and sophomore year. Well, now they don't make big leaps; they transfer out.
Mm-hmm.
So the player development of Clayton at the point guard, for instance, he has learned to thread the needle. When is it time to be the point guard, and when is it time to be the scoring guard? He's playing sensational. Will Richards playing the best basketball of his career. Elijah Martin gave them something that was missing from the Gator puzzle the last 3 or 4 years. A perimeter defender, physical, tough-minded, tough-nosed. And so when you add all that up, again, this would be a tournament. I would be shocked if the Final Four teams are not all 1 and 2.
Okay. Well,
now I say that. Tell me Cooper Flagg's injury situation.
Sure.
I need to know that, because I believe if you want to make a run to the Final Four, it requires certain ingredients. Number one is you must have NBA talent. Now, that doesn't mean you have to have NBA All-Stars, but you've got to have NBA talent. Number 2 is you got to be in Ken Palm's top 40 offensive and defensive efficiency, and the higher you are, the better chance you have. Number 3 is you have to be healthy. And then number 4 is somewhere along the way in your tournament run, you have to catch a break. That the basketball gods just smile on you. I mean, ask Tony Bennett.
Sure.
How many times did the gods smile on Virginia in their run?
Oh. Well, they deserved it after losing to UMBC the year before. They needed good blessings. Mark Wise. Mark Wise is with us. A couple more minutes here. ESPN college basketball analyst. So a very natural follow-up then would be about Auburn, who's the number 1 overall seed. But I think a lot of people have probably seen the stat going around about a team that lost 3 of 4. Any concern about Auburn considering the skid down the stretch?
Sure. I think there's a definite concern. And my concern is the mental fatigue that they've worn that mantle of being ranked number 1 for so long. I thought they looked tired in the SEC tournament. I really thought they looked tired in that late season game at Texas A&M. They're going to have to refine their energy. The thing about Auburn that always is a concern is they kind of ride the ridge of playing with emotion or playing emotionally. And they're 2 different things. So they're going to have to keep playing with emotion, but to keep their emotions in check. And sometimes that gets the best of them.
Mark, if you had to pick today, who wins the national championship?
Well, tell me about Cooper Flagg. Is he 100% in 8 days or whatever?
I can't see any way that he is, but that's speculative.
I mean,
what do you think, by the way? Like, what do you think, by the way, about Flagg? I mean, we all saw the injury; it looked gnarly. I can't believe he got up from that. But what do you think?
Yeah, but he's walking on it later that day. I mean, I had to think that was a good sign. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't play him this weekend unless I absolutely had to, and that includes the second round game against either Mississippi State or Baylor. I mean, they just won the ACC tournament without him. So. If there's any doubt whatsoever, I'd take my chances this weekend, see if you can get him back ready. If he's healthy, I think they come out of that right side. I even think Tennessee will probably – I think Tennessee has a real shot at Houston because they play just like Houston. And then on the left-hand side, I think I just can't get away. So I've got Tennessee as my number 2 coming out. And on the left-hand side, I just can't get away from Auburn and Florida right now. Florida, the way they've played, and Auburn, the trust I have with them is built over a 4-month period. So that's kind of where I am.
Mark Wise, ESPN college basketball analyst. Madness about to begin. Great time of year, man. We always appreciate a couple of minutes. Hopefully we do it again as the tournament moves along.
That'd be great. Thanks, Matt.
It's our pleasure. Good stuff there from Mark Wise. We appreciate it. It is After Further Review. Brought to you by our friends over at Supper Club. Y'all, they're closed today, closed on Mondays. But this is a great time to pause and think, because March is here. We're actually moving in the second half of March, which means we're just less than a couple of months away from graduation time. If you have someone graduating 8th grade or high school or college, and you're going to have a graduation party, a dinner, a celebration coming up, well, of course, you're going to celebrate at Supper Club, because that's where you go to celebrate. They're just the best. When you walk in, it's the ambiance. It is the place to celebrate. It doesn't matter what life occasion it is. If it's a birthday, an anniversary, a graduation, or every day, you go to Supper Club. But here's the most important part. I was talking to Chef Layton week before last, and they were already having people call for reservations for graduation. So if you have a graduate that you're going to celebrate here in a couple of months, please don't wait. Call Supper Club today to book that reservation. It doesn't matter the size of the party. You could rent the private room, which can hold about a dozen people or so. They can actually conform it to go a little bigger than that. But if you need to reserve a section of the restaurant for an even bigger party, they can do that. But don't wait. Get that reservation now. SupperClubBTR.com. SupperClubBTR.com. You're going to celebrate. You're going to go to Supper Club. SupperClubBTR.com. Okay, y'all, it's after further review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. We appreciate Mark Wise. If you missed it, Will Clapp was here last hour. Former Tiger, former Saint, current Saint again. Will Clapp's quote, absolutely love it. We already got it written up over at LouisianaSports.net. Praising Kellen Moore's offense, saying, quote, "It's by far my favorite offense I've ever played in." High praise. If you missed that, we're going to get the full Will Clapp interview up at YouTube. It's up? Okay, great. Thank you, Paulie. It's up on the AFR Saints YouTube channel. So if you go to AFR, go to YouTube, type in AFR Saints, or on podcast, AFR Saints. You'll see it right there. All right, it's after further review. We'll knock out a quick break, come back. Tiger baseball gets a sweep over Missouri over the weekend. I'll give you my takeaways. That's next on AFR.
AFR.
Remember the advanced turnaround group. It's turnaround season. You work in the plants, you understand it's time, right? March to October-ish is about the turnaround season. And the advanced turnaround group is a name you got to know. Action Industries has been around since 1982. The advanced turnaround group is their turnaround division. They're not taking resources from Action and dumping them into the turnaround world. This is a totally separate pool of resources, people who are proficient in turnaround work. They've made their careers in turnaround work, and they're exceptional with their round-the-clock service if you need it. They offer specialty welding as well over at the advanced turnaround group. So if you have a turnaround coming up, need someone to bid that job, would love it if you'd get my friends at the advanced turnaround group the opportunity to bid that job. Again, if you want to learn more, go to the website at actionindinc.com. Action Industries Incorporated. They're a proud partner of LSU Athletics. Again, it's Action Industries in the Advanced Turnaround Group. Check them out online today. It's Action Industries.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Good weekend. Proud of our team. Thought we executed really well, all phases. The pitchers did a great job competing in the slots that we had them in, and really executed well. And then offensively, just a lot of different stuff. Kind of a weird day with the wind, and we got one pitch up that Jake hit out, but other than that, manufactured a lot of runs, a lot of quality at bats, took advantage of free bases or mistakes and turned it into a lot of runs. So we scored 7 last night, so that's 29 over a 3-game weekend is really good when you're in conference play.
29 runs over 3 games in the SEC is a really good weekend. The caveat is it came against the worst team in the league. LSU sweeps Missouri, start 3-0 in conference play, and let's be very clear, that's what needed to happen. The schedule makers gave you a gift where you were able to ease into conference play against the worst team in the league. It allowed you to build yourself a cushion. You needed to do that, and LSU did that. I am not going to sit here today, however, and do backflips and heap praise upon this team for sweeping Missouri. Missouri is a bad baseball team. Let's get this straight. I think Missouri has some nice bats. They came into this weekend hitting .301 cumulatively, 17 homers in 16 games with a little bit of pop. You saw that in Game 2 when their 9-hole hitter homer twice. Anyway, we are going to find out for real if LSU's newcomers can hit SEC pitching this weekend when you go to Texas. We're going to find out just how good your arms are when you face a real legitimate top 10 team, which you're going to do this weekend on the road for 3 games. This weekend is going to be a much better barometer for what this LSU team is right now. And I think this weekend, hopefully, a sleepy weekend out at the box got their attention, a little bit of a wake-up. There's a lot of good. Cade Anderson was awesome. Pitched in the 7th inning, struck out 11, walked 2. He was great. You never felt with him in the game that he was, I don't want to say in trouble, but he was fantastic. Kason Evans and Zach Cowan were awesome. We've talked about it up until this point of the season when a lot of people have asked, who's your closer? When's Gavin Guidry going to come back? And the thing that, not that this is a unique thought or anything, but I've said this here and on every platform. I'm sure everybody said it. If you're in, but the way I phrased it was, if it's 3-2, basically a 1-run game in the 9th inning, you're giving the ball to Kason Evans to go get you those 3 outs. It's just a no-doubter. It's what you know at this point. He's the guy you trust. If you, in the bullpen right now, if you have to go get outs, take the ball, go get outs. And he did that on Saturday. He went and got you 7 outs, preserved the lead, and got you the win. Awesome. Zach Cowan used him twice this weekend. His combined stat line over 2 appearances, 3 2/3, 2 hits, 1 run, 7 strikeouts, a walk, through 38 strikes of his 54 pitches. That will play every day and twice on Sunday. Even nice to see Maverick Rizzi. Came into a tough spot after Connor Ware hit a dude, immediately got a ground ball double play, went back out for the 6th on Saturday, 3 up, 3 down in the 6th. Got an out, walked a guy in the 7th, and he was out of the game. But that's a guy at 6'9", with a whip of an arm. You're waiting to see which of these young guys you can count on. I mean, it's great that the opening weekend you played Purdue-Fort Wayne and 8 dudes are throwing 95 or better. That's impressive. But if they can't throw strikes, they can't get good hitters out, and that's been the problem this team has had so far. Right now, only Georgia and Ole Miss have walked more hitters in the SEC than LSU. You got to get that under control. It's a very obvious statement, but it's just true. You have to find strike throwers. And right now, that's been tough to come by, which has put more onus on guys like Cowan and Evans in the back of the bullpen. I know there's going to be people, like as soon as the game ended on Sunday, I fired up a live stream on Locked on LSU, and one of the first words out of my mouth is, before anyone puts a comment in, I know y'all are going to ask about Zach Cowan becoming a starter. And I'm here to tell you that is an awful idea and does not need to happen and shouldn't happen this year. Now, if you get into a point in the postseason where you're deep into, like, you're in a loser's bracket situation like LSU was in 2023, and you needed those outings from Ackenhausen and Herring, like you could see a situation like that because he was a Friday night guy at Wofford last year and he's shown he can extend. However, at this point, Zach Cowan is exponentially more valuable to you as a reliever than as a starter because he can do what he did this weekend and affect multiple games. And if we're sitting here talking about struggling to find strike throwers out of the bullpen, and that's one of the guys who can do it, then I'm not interested in taking him out of the bullpen because you don't have enough strike throwers in the bullpen. So leave him there where he can impact multiple games. Also, and this is something that we haven't seen manifest yet, but I'm going to tell you now on March the 17th to file it away for the future. We can all sit there and marvel at Cowan's ability to throw that changeup. And it's his best pitch, and it's a great pitch. It's also one pitch. And when you're playing at Wofford, that can play. When you're playing Missouri, that plays. When you're playing the better teams in the SEC, if you're asking him to go through the lineup a second and a third time, good hitters are more likely to adjust to it. All that to say, I like Cowan in a relief role saying, get me through the lineup once. Go find me 9 outs. Cool. Turn the lineup over when they've seen him. I think he might have a little more trouble. We haven't seen it yet, but it's something worth filing away, which is why I'd rather see Zach Cowan in the bullpen get through the lineup once in 2 different games than try to hand him the ball and say, go get me 6 innings. Because I don't know that he's getting you through the lineup 3 times. Maybe he'll prove me wrong, but I think that's a legitimate question. He's carved his role, which is critically important on this team. Strike throwing reliever that can get you tough outs, not starter. I know everyone is programmed to go, man, make him a starter. No, it's not where he needs to be. I do think we need to keep an eye on Connor Ware. Because, listen, I was listening on the LSU Sports Radio Network, and Bill Franquez was doing a pregame interview in Game 3 with Nate Yeske. And they were talking about Connor Ware. And Yeske said unprovoked about how Ware was awesome and their best guy in the fall and in the spring. And Ware had an effective outing on Saturday, better than certainly the previous 2, which were not good. But that's something to watch there. And I've talked to scouts that have been watching Connor Ware since his days in JUCO, and they rave about him. And it's like, this is different. So I have no idea what it is. I don't know if it's pitch sequencing. I don't know if it's where he's coming into the game. I have no idea. I haven't seen enough personally of Connor Ware to know. But something, whatever is not right there, needs to get ironed out because you need that guy. Like, you need that guy to be awesome because right now, the only lefty out of the bullpen that you trust is DJ Primo. And Primo pitched in all 3 games. I mean, that's kind of becoming a Riley Cooper situation, isn't it? Where Jay will use him in every situation. But you got to have more than one. And Connor Ware is the best candidate to be that guy right now. You got to figure that guy out and what's going on. And the onus is on Nate Yeske. Like squarely on Nate Yeske to find, amid this bevy of really talented arms, guys that can consistently throw strikes. Look, I mean, Chase Shores on Sunday, unfortunately, Anthony Einson on Saturday, neither got you through 4. Look, Shores had 5 strikeouts through 3 2/3. His pitch count got driven up, though, because he was struggling to throw strikes. Walking guys, hit by pitch. Like, you're not going to be able to extend deep into a ball game if you can't put the ball over the plate. It's a very obvious thing to say, but it's true. So they've got to identify strike throwers on this team. Defense continues to be awesome. My goodness, Stephen Milam's fantastic. I'll also say if there's one other thing, and if you're listening to this, you're probably thinking, Matt, did they sweep or get swept? I'm not trying to come at it overtly negative. Y'all know I'm normally the other side of this equation with LSU baseball. It's a long season. It's 56 games. I never overreact to one loss ever. I'm way more measured. But I also can look at this weekend and go, and that was a bad team you played, and there were some things that I didn't like that I know are going to get you. You were able to beat Missouri, but they're going to get you beat this weekend against Texas. So you got to shape up in a hurry. Jake Brown needs to be in the lineup every day. To me, it's nonsensical not having Jake Brown in the lineup. I can understand Jay Johnson wanting to get Ethan Fry reps and Josh Pearson out there as well. And Pearson's a very good college baseball player, and I wouldn't mind having him and Fry rotating DH, whether you want a lefty or righty in the game. But Jake Brown's got to be the right fielder every day. He is a 5-tool player. They put him in a pinch hit situation after not starting him on Friday. He bangs a double off the wall. He hits the home run Sunday. Like, you got to have Jake Brown in the lineup every day. I can't see an argument against it at this point. So whether you want to DH him or you want to play him in right, I think he's obviously your best defensive option in right. He's got to be in the lineup every day. Jay has a little bit, I think, of it's a little bit of a catch-22 where he went out and he recruited all of these guys, both in the high school signing class and the number 1 portal class, who has all of these guys that are capable and all that are expecting playing time. And it feels like he's trying to get all of them playing time in very creative ways. But you get a pinch hit, then you'll go pinch run, and you'll be a defensive replacement. He's trying to use them all. When sometimes there's a very obvious answer staring you in your face. Jake Brown's one of the best players on your team. He needs to be in your lineup every day. Very similar to how, like, when Jay didn't want to acknowledge it, but we kind of all knew Luis Hernandez was emerging as your best defensive option at catcher and had to be in the lineup every day in SEC play. And he was this weekend. We didn't see Cade Aaron Beatty. Same thing with Jake Brown, right? That's not to knock Ethan Fry or Josh Pearson. It's just Jake Brown is one of the best players on your team. He's got to be in your lineup every day. You're not going to have that margin this weekend. You're going to see elite arms for the first time. You will see elite arms for the first time this year when you go to Texas this weekend. It's going to be a much different challenge. And they're going to have to lock in. This will be a very revealing weekend for LSU going on the road to Austin. But the Tigers did what they had to do. They did what they had to do. All 30 games count exactly the same. They're 3-0. Get better this week. Go build upon it. See if you can go win a series on the road at a top 10 Texas team. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by South Point Volkswagen and SouthPointVW.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at SouthPointVW.com. Hey, if you're in the market for a new vehicle or might be, go shop South Point Volkswagen. Remember, maybe you're looking for a certified pre-owned vehicle. Remember, at South Point, they're the largest volume Volkswagen dealer in the state because they move so much inventory. They have more trade-ins, more certified pre-owned inventory than anybody else. So shop the used car lots, but make sure you go check out South Point Volkswagen as well if you're looking for a pre-owned vehicle as well. My buddy, Mr. Kerry Manuel over there is the certified pre-owned manager. Go check out their inventory today at South Point Volkswagen. Airline just north of Highland or SouthPointVW.com. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction? All right, y'all, it's After Further Review. We'll talk a little more baseball, SEC baseball with Luch coming up here. David Dellucci, 30 minutes from right now. Also, I had a conversation with Bryce Brown over the weekend, the head coach at Edna Carr, who is, of course, the head coach of Richard Anderson, who is an LSU defensive line commitment, and he said some very interesting things reinforcing Richard Anderson's commitment to LSU after they were on campus to meet Kyle Williams. I'm going to get to that in about 45 minutes as well next hour. Hey, when we come back, we will talk a little LSU football. Brian Kelly, after practice on Saturday, I asked him about the safety play so far in spring, and it's pretty revealing. We'll get to that next on AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. Y'all love the springtime. Doesn't everybody? Springtime is crawfish time and all the boiled seafood. It's time to be outdoors and enjoy this gorgeous weather. Why in the world wouldn't you go check out the Rouse's Boiled Combo? $19.99. And you get boiled crawfish, shrimp, corn, and potatoes, bagged, tagged, ready to roll. Walk into Rouse's, find the hot and boiled kiosk, grab it, and go. Pick up dinner for the whole family tonight. Of course, Fridays and Lent, if you're abstaining from meat, you need that seafood option, Rouse's has got you covered. Remember, they've got live and boiled crawfish at all Rouse's locations every single day. So get on by any of the 70 Rouse's locations from Lake Charles to Orange Beach or anywhere in between. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com, Rouse's. This feels like home.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environment.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
I will talk to David Dellucci coming up in the next hour. LSU had football practice on Saturday. The media was allowed to attend. We talked to Brian Kelly afterwards, and I asked Brian Kelly specifically about safety play because, quite honestly, it's something I asked him about throughout last season because it was the weakest link. Your defense was better than the worst defense ever in 2023, but still wasn't good. And a giant problem you had was your safety's inability to cover and to tackle. When you look at the Pro Football Focus rankings, and again, Pro Football Focus, a metric, not the metric, but something worth considering. Your lowest graded starters, your two lowest graded starters defensively were Jordan Gilbert and Major Burns. Now, it's a bit odd that you had Sage Ryan ranked as one of your higher ranked defenders, but a big part of that where his pass rush grade was an 81, which elevated him a little bit to a total grade of 69.9. Good, serviceable, certainly not great. Well, in this spring now, of course, Sage Ryan's at Ole Miss. Major Burns is off to the NFL. Jordan Gilbert is recovering from a shoulder surgery. And Brian Kelly did confirm that Gilbert's going to be out all spring. But play that one if you would. He sort of lauded Jordan Gilbert for the job that he's done here being out in spring.
No, he'll be out all spring. Yeah. But he's there every day. I mean, he's been a great leader, and he's actually been the kind of veteran guy that you want, right? He's been around those young guys. He's been accountable. He's been really good.
That's fantastic to see. And I am also, listen, I know Jordan Gilbert was not great last year. Like, I know that. We have eyes. We saw it. He was also playing the entire season with a dislocated shoulder that seemingly every time, I mean, he had the strap, the harness on his shoulder. Every time that he hit someone, the thing would seemingly pop out. It was a problem. It's hard to be a physical, point of attack tackling safety when you're using one arm. So had surgery this offseason, get healthy. Let's see how that looks next year for Jordan Gilbert. But in spring so far, we're seeing Tamarcus Cooley and Javen Toviano run with the ones. Now, you can throw a little caveat in there with Austin Osbury playing the star. That's going to be Harold Perkins. But the star is kind of that hybrid nickel-Sam position that we know how it goes. And here's what Brian Kelly talked about with what he's seen so far from the safeties through, again, just 5 spring practices. So that is the caveat worth mentioning. But here's what he said he's seen so far.
Well, I would say pleased. When I assess the safety play, there are a couple of things that I'm looking for. The first is, are we making tackles at or near the line of scrimmage? And we are. Are we making open field tackles and getting the ball down when the ball breaks through the second level of our defense? And we are. We weren't doing that and have not done that on a consistent basis. Are we, from a technical standpoint, playing the ball in the air well? And I see it in 7-on-7 that the structure of our defense is such that we are. So the early indications are that we're getting that kind of play that you generally see with the development of young players.
So, and if you're following at home, Brian Kelly said what he wants to see from his safeties. Can you tackle at the line? Can you tackle in space? And can you cover? That's pretty standard, right? And you heard what he said. We weren't doing that. We didn't tackle in space. We didn't tackle at the line, and we didn't cover. Right. Your safety position last year was bad, which is why you went out and you added Tamarcus Cooley, which is why you went and got a guy like Mansour Delane, who, by the way, was awesome in coverage this weekend and I think is going to end up being a starting cornerback on this team. He's really good, which is why you're moving Harold Perkins to the star position and committing to that. You got to be better at those things, and he's trying to tell you so far he feels like they are. Listen, we didn't get to see a ton of scrimmage on Saturday, but one of the plays, they ran a running play to the right side with Caden Durham. Austin Osbury, boom, from the star, boom, fill the gap, got Caden Durham on the ground for no gain. Like, that's a positive thing to see. The fourth play we saw, Aaron Anderson ran a 10-yard out route. Tamarcus Cooley from his strong safety spot, basically filled, saw it, read it, pass breakup. 2 very positive plays out of the 4 we saw from your safeties. Those are the types of things you didn't have a year ago. Tamarcus Cooley, I'm specifically talking about those Pro Football Focus numbers just for comparison. TaMarcus Cooley last year, his PFF grade was a 79.5, okay? 79.5. Again, I don't need to go into all the detail of how that's all calculated. Just realize a 79.5 is very, very good. Sage Ryan was your highest graded safety. Remember, Cooley, 79.5. All right? Sage Ryan, a 69. If I look at Deshaun Spears, 61. Toviano, 57. Major Burns, 57. Jordan Gilbert, 53. Cooley was a 79.5. Tackle at the line, tackle in space, cover. You had to get better talent. You added a really good player in TaMarcus Cooley, who, as I understand it, when the scrimmage went inside on Saturday, played very, very well. By the way, Brian Kelly was asked specifically about Cooley afterwards, and he was asked more so, was he going to play the nickel as a safety, or was he going to play nickel, or was he going to play safety? And Kelly kind of gave an explanation.
So playing in the nickel position, you're either a corner playing nickel or you're a safety playing nickel. He was a safety playing nickel. So he's had experience playing at that position. And we felt like that was the reason why we recruited him, that he was a safety that could play nickel. There's a difference, obviously. One's a little bit more physical at that position than the other, and one's maybe a little bit more gifted in terms of the coveraging, but maybe not as strong against the run. So he was always a safety that could play nickel, and that was the kind of versatility that we thought we would get in the recruiting.
Okay, let me translate. Nickel corners, better in coverage. Nickel safeties, better at tackling. We think he's a safety that can play nickel. What is Brian Kelly telling you? We couldn't tackle worth a darn last year. We couldn't get ball carriers on the ground. We think he's a safety who can play nickel. Physical at the point of attack, get the ball carrier on the ground. Tackle in space, Harold Perkins. Yes. That's what they want. By the way, TaMarcus Cooley, his tackling grade last year, I told you his overall grade was a 79.5. His tackling grade, 81.3. They got dudes that can tackle. That's the goal. Tackle the damn ball. Please. Don't let me see another 2023 LSU offense with Jaden Daniels and Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas and freak shows left and right, and you go 9-3 because you can't tackle or cover or do anything. Yes, add dudes that can tackle. Mission seemingly accomplished, I hope. All right, it's after further review. Muse will do Tigers and the Pros to wrap up hour number 2 next.
After further review.
We're brought to you by Clegg's Nursery. Y'all, spring is here. Boy, we had that bad weather on Saturday with the rain, but aside from the rain, and I get it was bad for a lot of our area, and shout out to everybody who went through a tough spot with that bad weather. Aside from that, this was such a gorgeous spring weekend. Like, isn't this why we live in Louisiana, for weather like this weekend? Gorgeous, sunshiny, 70-degree temperatures. Absolutely immaculate. Get them by Clegg's Nursery, y'all. You want to enjoy your outdoor spaces this spring and beautify them? Clegg's can help. Check out their Facebook page, y'all, because they have flowers and shipments of plants and trees and shrubs arriving daily. My goodness, the beautiful spring colors that just pop. You want to add that color to your garden, your patio pots, to beautify your outdoor spaces? Clegg's can help. Buy local, shop local. Tell them Matt sent you into Clegg's Nursery.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Good to go. I think Morrow and Flauget are in a boot, but that's just, I don't know why they're still in it, but I guess they just keep them in it.
She's so good. Kim Mulkey. The women are a 3 seed. They'll play at home Saturday against San Diego State. Florida State and George Mason, the 6 and 11 respectively, are the other teams that'll be in Baton Rouge. So the Tigers have a couple of games in Baton Rouge, hopefully, before they head off. But Kim Mulkey giving the update there on Flauget and Anissa Morrow in a boot. It's a stabilization. I think most people understand this. You wear a boot as a stabilizer. You see it and you think, oh, they're in a boot. But it's a stabilization thing. And it's a precaution and helps heal. But Tigers have a great opportunity, man. This is a team at their best, was really good. Gave some of the top teams in the country a sincere run. You get healthy and get ready to go. Hopefully play your best. It was very calculated what Kim Mulkey did and sitting Flauget for the last couple of weeks. And hopefully it has them ready to roll by the time they play Saturday night. 9:15 tip. 9:50. 9:50.
That is so gross.
Like we're obviously an affiliate of the LSU. We're the flagship of the LSU Sports Radio Network here at Guarantee Media and Eagle 98.1. And so we get all the broadcast times and everything. When I saw 9:15 come down the pike, oh man, no face. Somebody's got to do it, I guess. But man, like, can't one of the West Coast teams play at 9:15?
That would make a lot of sense, wouldn't it?
Oh man, it's like when LSU football from time to time would play like the 8 o'clock kick on ESPN 2. 8 o'clock kick,
bro.
Now back in the day, back in the day, like Condon would tell me, like back in my day, sort of thing. They'd kick off at like the night games at Tiger Stadium used to be 8 o'clock, but there was no TV, and the games obviously moved a lot quicker. But anyway, whatever. Muse, Tigers in the pros. What in the world are you doing? Well, that is not at all what we need. That is not the thing we need. That's the thing we need.
That's
right
the thing
there.
we need, yeah.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
All right, Paul Skeens. Paul Skeens gets the start for the Pirates today in spring training.
Should have stayed.
For
No, that doesn't work.
I mean, I would have loved it. I think we all would have loved it. But no. 4 2/3 for Skeens, 5 hits, did allow the run, punched out 7. his second win of the spring. He's awesome. He'll get the opening day start as well for the Pittsburgh Pirates. That's really no surprise. But the video of the manager telling him that did make its rounds on social media this past weekend, and it was pretty cool. It was a pretty cool moment there for Skeens. Aaron Nola got the start today for the Phillies. 4 2/3 for Nola. Couple runs, punched out 5. Both the runs he gave up were homers, but Nola sporting a tidy sub-2 ERA here in the spring. Kevin Gausman got the start for the Blue Jays. All the LSU starters got their starts today. 3 innings, 3 earned, 3 Ks. Not great for Gausman. Dylan Cruz. He went 1 for 4, punched out twice. And then Alex Bregman. 1 out of 3. You're going to love this. 1 out of 3.
Yep.
Runs scored.
Yep.
RBI.
Yeah.
Boston lost 12-3.
Yeah!
I mean, that's exactly what you're looking for, right?
That's exactly what I'm looking for.
There it is. You got your wish. You've gotten your wish so far in spring training. We'll see what happens in the regular season. Jamar Chase and Derek Slayton got paid. We talked about that earlier.
They're rich.
That's Tigers and Pros.
Isn't that the point of the segment? They're just really rich now.
Very true.
Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, Muse. Coming up May 20th through the 22nd. That big old engagement event they're having over at Lee Michaels. That bridal event. Him or her, you want those wedding bands? Lee Michaels in the Mall of Louisiana. Loose diamonds, beautiful engagement rings. Y'all go check out Muse over at Lee Michaels, May 20th through the 22nd at that engagement event going down. Thriller with a gift in the red box, or go with Muse as he buys his wedding band at Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry in the Mall of Louisiana. Hour 3 is next.
After further review.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wildin'.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
When you can't rely on technology, you can rely on Mountain Cold Refreshment. Dave's back on. Coors Light. Choose chill.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi, breaking NBA news from ESPN's Shams Charania. 76ers forward Paul George has been ruled out the remainder of the season. He's been battling multiple injuries throughout his first season in Philly. The Texans making All-Pro Derek Stingley Jr. the highest-paid cornerback in NFL history. Sides agreed to a 3-year, $90 million extension, $89 million guaranteed. Second NFL record-setting deal in 2 days. Yesterday, Bengals made receiver Jamar Chase the highest-paid non-quarterback ever. Team also agreed to a big extension with receiver T. Higgins. But Cincinnati likely moved further away from a championship in the process, says Unsportsmanlike co-host Chris Canty.
I've just never seen a team built quite like what the Cincinnati Bengals are doing win a championship. I mean, you're talking about them having nearly $70 million every single season allocated to 2 wide receivers. I don't know that that's something that's sustainable. I don't know that that formula is going to allow you to build out the roster.
Rory McIlroy won the Players' Championship in a 3-hole playoff against J.J. Spawn.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. At Progressive, they're making things even easier. They'll help you bundle your home and car insurance together so you can save on both. Learn more at progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's rock! Go!
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Yes, sir. And Mr. Toby Tomplin. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. One of the top commitments for LSU's 2026 class has reinforced his commitment to LSU after visiting with Kyle Williams. I want to talk about that in about 15 minutes from right now. David Dellucci joins us, talk some SEC baseball. How are you, Luch?
I'm doing great.
Did we lose? All right, let's call him back. Just as we were pushing off from the dock there in hour 3, the phone monster came and jumped up and bit us right in the face. Got him? Okay, Luch is back. How are you, man?
I'm good, man. Busy. A lot going on over here.
I know, man. Let's start with the sweeps. 3 teams swept this weekend. I would assume you think Tennessee's sweep was the most impressive, or would you go with Texas?
I think Tennessee is, man. I think when the season plays out, you're going to see that Florida is a very good team. They just hit a juggernaut that's firing on all cylinders right now. Tennessee is you would have thought after losing all of their starting pitchers, I think first, second, third baseman, left center fielder, and their catcher, you wouldn't imagine that they would be doing what they're doing right now. But a 20-game win streak, and they face Florida Gators. It has a pretty good pitching staff, a couple of injuries in their rotation. But, I mean, they just absolutely dismantled them. The first game on Friday night was in front of a record crowd, and it's everything you want in the SEC matchup with 2 teams way up in the standings.
What did we learn about Texas?
Texas is good. Kind of figured with Schlossnagle and that staff that they were going to have a good offense. It was going to force the pitching staff on the other side to throw a lot of pitches. The question mark coming in the conference was, are they going to throw the ball over the plate? Did they have the bullpen that they could bring in and match up to hitters? And they showed it, man. I mean, it's a gutsy performance. To get a sweep in the SEC is extremely difficult. To do it the way that they've done it on both sides, I think is really impressive. And now they've got confidence. Now they're going into the weekend with another big matchup, and it's a different team than everybody thought Texas was going to be.
Yeah, well, we'll talk a little bit about Texas LSU. We'll get an early thought on that in just a second. Bama and A&M is probably the one everyone's thinking of, and not. But I'll ask it to you this way, Luch: are you more impressed with Bama sweeping, or is it more concerning about A&M being swept?
A&M is a conundrum. I mean, it's just unbelievable how bad they're playing right now. The pitching staff was pretty good. Alabama hits really well. They've got some sluggers. One of the leaders in the SEC as a team in home runs. Justin LeBron is legit. He's one of the better power hitters in the country. Will Hodo has been clutch. But you look at A&M, and it's a team that was preseason number one because they were returning one of the premier offenses in the country, and I just can't figure it out. The only thing I can think of is, number one, Jim Schlossnagle is a great coach. They had a great staff. So you leave your hitting coach behind, he becomes a head coach, and maybe there's so many things that a head coach has to look at and pay attention that he can't spend as much time with the hitters as he did last year. But their offense, it's just not good. And to make matters worse, the fan base is at wit's end right now. I think it's a snowball that's getting bigger and bigger. To be swept at home opening weekend, that's very difficult to do. And A&M fans are not happy.
You mean coaching matters?
Big time. Big time, especially at the college level.
Yeah, man.
I mean, it really does. Very important, not only to have a guy that has the X's and O's out there, but a guy that has command of the clubhouse and players like to go out there and play for and trust. And, first-year coaches, it's very difficult at this level to go out there and command the respect not only from the team but the media and the fan base. So, I mean, it's just a monster weight on their shoulders right now, and it just keeps getting heavier and heavier.
I'm not going to say, Luch, that it'll never work with Michael Early, but it is sort of another cautionary tale of promoting the popular assistant. It feels like we see this all the time.
I'm going to tell you, this is the other thing, to go along with your point, Matt. We keep hearing young players, collegiate players, and I've heard this in LSU football years past, like, we're so angry because we love our coach. Our coach is the best. Well, 18, 19, 20-year-old young men don't truly understand what's best for the program. They may like somebody in the clubhouse. They may think he's a super nice guy, maybe even a father figure, but you got to be a CEO. You got to be a general manager. You got to be able to handle all of those things to be successful. And sometimes the guys that people don't really care for are the best when they get on the field and in the clubhouse. And it's not always the most popular person in the clubhouse that wins ball games.
Dave Dellucci is our guest, SEC Network. Paul Maneri, his first SEC weekend at South Carolina. They lose the weekend to Oklahoma, but snagged a game. I'm not sure how much you got to keep an eye on that series, but a thought on Maneri's first SEC weekend?
Yeah, I think it was back and forth. They had some weather issues in that game. One of the things that stood out to me is South Carolina is a good team. Oklahoma is a very good team. But there were many opportunities that South Carolina had to put them away and win that series. And to me, it was kind of a flashback of some of the teams that we saw over here where, they're nail biters, man, all the way into the ninth inning. It's a 4-3. It's a close ball game. You missed an opportunity to hit a ball in the gap or to move runners over. And in the SEC, teams will make you pay for that kind of stuff. And so you kind of saw it with South Carolina this weekend. Had every opportunity to win ball games, had every opportunity for big innings, but they just kept letting Oklahoma back in, and that momentum shifted, and Oklahoma ended up being victorious. So South Carolina's a good team. They just took their licks this weekend.
And Tigers will play the Gamecocks in the final week of the regular season. Tigers are going to play Texas this week. Luke, did you have a big takeaway from LSU sweep over Missouri?
A sweep against any SEC program is very, very good. We had talked about it last week. Missouri can swing the bats. We saw that. This is something to consider. Like, every athlete that plays in the SEC is a premier athlete, especially in baseball. But more so than that, they're experienced baseball players. So they're not intimidated like some of these other players from other conferences. And that's, I think, what you see with Missouri is they're a formidable opponent. They're going to play really well. They're not up to par with the other SEC teams out there, but you can't take them lightly. And I like the fact that LSU was able to win the close game. They were able to get out there and be tested in SEC play. And anytime you come out with a sweep against anybody in conference, that's a big deal.
Luch, before you go, give me an early thumbnail on Tigers at Longhorns.
I think it's going to be a great matchup. I think LSU's offense is just too powerful for Texas. I think they're going to make that pitching staff, once they get into the bullpen, I think they're going to make the pitching staff pay. But LSU's got so much depth. I mean, they can play matchup on both sides of the ball, and I'm not sure Texas has seen that yet. They swept State. 2 of those games was in a doubleheader. That's really impressive, but they're fixing to see an offense they hadn't seen all year.
Flip side's also true, Luch. LSU's about to see pitching, at least from a couple of starters that they haven't seen yet. So it's gonna be a lot of fun to watch. It feels like it's like Saturday be like moving day in golf. It feels like we're gonna learn about both these teams, right? Both the 3-0. Who's the one that really emerges as the contender this week? And maybe both of them after, but it's gonna be fun to see. Hey, when's the election?
We got early voting going right now. Early voting ends March 22nd. Election day is March 29th. So I'm juggling SEC baseball and a campaign at the same time.
Luch is running for a councilman at large for the city of St. George. Luch, I was driving down Highland Road on Saturday, going out to LSU to go to football practice, and like all the way down Highland Road by from the interstate to about Sieg, maybe a little past that. Just these David Dellucci for city council signs everywhere. I'm like, look at Luch, man.
Hey, you know what? I put every single one of them up.
So
I want to thank everybody that gave me permission to go out there and put signs up in their yard or in front of their businesses. I've gotten a lot better. I can put a sign up under 2 minutes unless people blow their horn and say, we're going to vote for you. Then I get flustered a little bit and it takes me a little longer.
Well, good luck, man. We're pulling for you. Hope it goes well.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me, Matt.
We appreciate the time. That's David Dellucci. It's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Parish Restoration, parishrestoration.com, parishrestoration.com. Look, a lot of people with the bad weather this weekend probably had some water intrusion. It's kind of part of it with storms. It's not fun. No one ever wants to see that. But if you do have water intrusion, you need to get all that cleaned up. Parish Restoration can help. If you have mold, think you might, Parish Restoration can help. If you have other harmful pathogens, let's say you got someone in the house that has the flu, or maybe your office building, your school, where some flu, any type of virus has gone around, you want to come in, they'll come spray that patented non-toxic dry fog. It'll knock out every virus down to the spores. So give them a shout. It's more cost-effective, and it's more efficient. It's Parish Restoration. I'm telling you, I say this, I mean it as a compliment. There's not a soul on planet Earth that I know that knows more about mold than Jim Woodworth. I swear to God. It's impressive. It's Parish Restoration, parishrestoration.com. All right, thanks to Luch. Mark Wise, ESPN college basketball analyst, was here last hour. Will Clapp was with us in hour one. Paulie's already got that chat up on YouTube. If you want to check it out, just go to YouTube, search AFR Saints, or on podcast, AFR Saints. Subscribe on both. We'd appreciate that. If you want our LSU content, search AFR LSU, and you'll get just LSU content. Of course, you want the whole show. Just go to any podcast app or YouTube, search After Further Review. You'll see it there. But in any event, great convo with Will Clapp. I want to pull it. We're going to want that soundbite from Clapp when he said that the Kellen Moore offense says the most fun offense he's ever played in, college or pro. Raved about Kellen Moore, which is great to see. Also said that as soon as the Saints made the offer, it was done. Like, he was not interested in listening to other offers, told his agent, get it done. So he wanted to come home, and I love that. So if you missed our convo with Will Clapp, it was great to have him on the show. We'll look forward to doing that plenty more with Clapp back in New Orleans. All right, y'all, I got a break. Come back. This is a very encouraging thing for LSU. I and many others have wondered, okay, you bring in Kyle Williams as defensive line coach. He's never coached in college before. What's the effect going to be not only on the field but in recruiting? Some of the early returns are really good. I'll explain what I mean next.
AFR.
Brought to you by the Watermark and the Renaissance. Watermark downtown, Renaissance Southdown, two of Baton Rouge's premier hotel properties. The Watermark, voted by you the best hotel in the best of 225. The Renaissance, right there on Bluebonnet across from the Mall, Louisiana, and Perkins Row. Sprawling, 13,000 square feet of meeting space. Gorgeous guest rooms. Every Renaissance location is unique to that market. You may not know it, but you walk into Renaissance Baton Rouge, look behind the front desk. That sculpture is a 2-scale sculpture of the Mississippi River and all of its tributaries. You look at the carpet, they're actually designed as crab traps, if you'll notice, the intricacies of it. Everything is thoughtful. It's gorgeous. They can host anything, wedding receptions, awards banquets, fundraisers, anything from a board meeting for 12 people to their grand ballroom can host events for 500 people. It's Renaissance Baton Rouge right there on Bluebonnet. Check them out today at Renaissance Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Join LSU Athletics and the Tiger Athletic Foundation for Bayou Tradition's second annual gala, a Louisiana Saturday night featuring Jordan Davis on the field in Tiger Stadium Saturday, May 3rd. We are giving you on-field access. Register to win a spot at our table, 1045ESPN.com. Support LSU student athletes, NIL opportunities, and reserve your table at lsutaf.org/events.
If you head over to LouisianaSports.net, we've got a story up about Richard Anderson that it's going to be pretty encouraging if you're an LSU fan. So you're I'm sure familiar with who Richard Anderson is. Richard Anderson is a 4-star. He's the number 1 defensive tackle in the country for the class of 2026. He's out of Edna-Carr in New Orleans, and he's the number 3 player in Louisiana for 2026. And this is a guy that you just got to keep. We've talked about it plenty up until this point. The 2026 class, bumper crop in Louisiana. And so these are the types of classes that that become the foundation of championship teams and have over the last 25 years in Baton Rouge. And Richard Anderson's a big piece of that, as is making sure Lamar Brown and Blaine Bradford and guys like that stay home. Now, Richard Anderson committed to LSU back in June of last year. So June of 24, he committed. And he's been solidly committed to this point. However, there's naturally some anxiety that goes on when your position coach leaves, as Bo Davis did. Well, I had an interaction this weekend with Bryce Brown, who is the head football coach at Edna-Carr, where Richard Anderson plays. And Bryce Brown told me in no uncertain terms that he and Richard Anderson were very impressed with Kyle Williams. They did a 2-day unofficial visit in Baton Rouge with the LSU staff and with Kyle Williams. And what Bryce Brown told me is that Kyle Williams' meeting with him was both, quote, eye-opening and refreshing. He also said, quote, Kyle was great, very personable, confident, and knowledgeable. I think he'll do great for LSU. He also added that meeting with Kyle Williams, quote, reinforced Richard's commitment to LSU. I think that is so encouraging. Not to think necessarily that that Kyle Williams isn't going to do the job or wouldn't do the job well or anything to that effect. It's just to say that you don't know. You know, it's the risk you take when you hire Kyle Williams. And I know that sounds funny to say because Kyle Williams played 13 years in the NFL and was an All-American and a 6-time Pro Bowler and a national champion and all that stuff, which is all true. But he's also never been a college football coach. And when your first job is at LSU, there's always look. We just got done talking about like Texas A&M baseball. I know it's not what, but they hired Michael Early, promoted him as the head coach, and they are struggling out the gate. They hired an unknown. They took a big risk there, and sometimes that works, and sometimes that doesn't work. Look, I mean, Oklahoma, it's a head coach thing, but Oklahoma, when Bob Stoops retired, promoted Lincoln Riley. Young guy, gave him his first head coaching job at Oklahoma. It's a big, big step up, and he aced the test at Oklahoma. So sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. But this was so encouraging because you've got to make sure in this class you're protecting Louisiana. Because as we've gone through it before with the guys in this state for this class in 2026, you got 6 guys, in the top 100, really 6 guys in the top 80 prospects nationally. You get all of those guys to stay at home. Not only is it good to get those guys, but it's good for retention as well. So as to say, it'd be much easier, in theory, to retain guys from Louisiana and prevent them from going to the portal and looking around than guys who came here from out of state. And listen, there's exceptions to every rule. Walker Howard left after 1 year. Shelton Sampson left after a couple of years. But you've also seen guys who have patiently stayed and waited their turn and sometimes battled through injuries, and guys that just want to play for LSU. I mean, I could look at Aaron Anderson as an example, who did come here as a transfer, but after that first year when he didn't really play, it would have been very understandable had he jumped in the portal and gone somewhere where he was going to get more targets and more attention. Instead, comes back last year, ends up being LSU's leading receiver on that team a season ago. Now, hopefully, we'll have a great senior year back for his 5th season. So I was just very encouraged by that, hearing that from Bryce Brown of Edna-Carr. And, of course, when you look at at Edna Carr, which has been such a great pipeline of talent for LSU. And, Anderson's committed, as is his teammate Aiden Hall, the safety, out of Edna Carr in New Orleans. So that's been a program, y'all, that has been a talent factory in New Orleans. Bryce Brown's done an amazing job with that program. And LSU's done a really good job recruiting that program as well. Of course, Teron Francis is a freshman receiver from Edna Carr, who's an early enrollee. He's going through spring right now. So the more talent, obviously, you get out of the New Orleans area in that program, the better. But Richard Anderson, the early returns from his first unofficial visit with Kyle Williams and the staff went apparently, as I'm told, very well. Bryce Brown and Richard Anderson spent 2 days here in Baton Rouge on an unofficial, and as he told me, it reinforced Richard's commitment to LSU. Here's your less than 12 months away from that December signing period. So good returns there. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. Our Monday shows, as always, are brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Energy-efficient replacement windows. Beautiful entry doors, hardy plank, vinyl siding. They do it all. They do it better than anyone at Relief Windows. Hey, remember also, financing is available at Relief Windows. Always something that we've got to stress. Financing is available over at Relief Windows. And right now, as we're moving into tax season, you get that tax refund. You want to reinvest it into your home on something that'll lower your energy bills, increase your home's resale value, beautify the exterior of your home. Windows, doors, siding, shutters, they do it all. They do it better than anyone. It's Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Couple of other things from Brian Kelly on Saturday. Excuse me. He was asked about the tight ends, and in particular, Bauer Sharp and the job that he's done so far. And, I got asked this question last week, who I think the most impactful or most important transfer for LSU is. My answer was Braylon Moore, because I think you're losing 4 starters on the offensive line. Center with Chester was your weak link. I think if you have Braylon Moore as plug-and-play center, a lot of things will fall into place after that. So I think Braylon Moore is most important. I'd put Bauer Sharp not far down the list, because obviously you had the best receiving tight end in the history of the program, who's now off to the NFL, and you got to replace that productivity. Now, I love Trey'Dez Green, and I think Trey'Dez Green is a mismatch and is going to create huge problems. But Trey'Dez also is not yet an inline blocker and a vertical, seam route type threat. He's a guy that's going to create mismatches in the red zone and different spots on the field. But Bauer Sharp is your prototype. And he looks awesome, too, by the way. I posted some pictures and some video of Alex Atkins, the new tight ends coach, working out with the tight ends this weekend. You guys hitting sleds, working on blocking techniques with those guys. If you go check it out on my Twitter, it's there. It's at Matt Moscona, my ex, whatever you want to say. But really impressive to watch Alex Atkins work with these guys. But Bauer Sharp, who's wearing 10, fills the jersey and looks awesome. And here was Brian Kelly talking about Bauer Sharp in the tight end room.
I think when we were looking to add to the tight end room, we wanted somebody that could do both, and that's what we found. He can block, he can catch the football. He's from the state, he knows it. He knows this place really well. He's passionate about LSU, and he's had a really good spring. He had a great day today. He's already got a great relationship in terms of understanding our offense, and Garrett's finding him already. So add that to what is already a really elite tight end in Trey'Dez, and we've answered that question resoundingly.
Yeah, I was told in the scrimmage on Saturday when they went indoors, and when we weren't allowed to watch indoors, that they had he got 2 balls and seam routes. Bauer Sharp did. And he's very much replacing Mason Taylor in that sequence offensively.
Mason Taylor!
So you're going to see a ton, I think a plumb ton, of 2 tight end sets with Sharp and Trey'Dez Green on the field at the same time. Something else they did, too, which I thought was interesting. The very first play of practice on Saturday when we were out there, when the offense was running against air. So they started with a 2-minute drill against air. So the first offense went out there, started about the 20-yard line. They were running a 2-minute drill against air. Just get up and go. The very first snap, they had Caden Durham and Xavier Thomas in the backfield together, and then they motioned Xavier out and pitched him the ball. I just wonder how much. This is, by the way, totally speculative. But I wonder how much of what they do this spring is designed at keeping some of the guys engaged at positions where you brought in talent at their spot, namely receiver. I mean, not only did you bring in Nick Anderson, Destin Hill has looked really good. And remember, Berrien Brown is kind of in the same mold as Aaron Anderson and Xavier Thomas. And by the way, Berrien Brown's expected to be returning kicks and punts. Well, if that's the case, what does that mean for Xavier Thomas's touches? So I do think there is going to be a real intentional effort to keep some of those guys involved throughout spring practice, because I think you have to protect against guys going out in spring, 15 practices, getting a sense of where they stand on the depth chart, getting discouraged and leaving in the spring portal window. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I think that's something that they are very aware of. And I think every coach has to be aware of throughout spring and really all throughout the season now. All right, it's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break, y'all. We'll come back. Both Devon Gottschall and Juwan Johnson met with reporters. Gottschall, of course, was traded to the New Orleans Saints, and Juwan Johnson signed as a free agent, re-signed with New Orleans. Let's hear some of what they had to say as we continue here on AFR.
AFR.
Pretty excited about this. Tomorrow, we're going to be doing a video shoot in studio with a very satisfied customer of Duplessis Builders. Start to tell you some testimonials. And I love being able to tell you about Duplessis for a lot of different reasons. Listen, most of us who've either built a pool or know someone, friend, family member, neighbor, who's built a pool, probably has some horror stories to tell. It's an invasive process. It's not easy. There's a lot of pool builders that build beautiful pools. Like, you can go look at Instagram accounts for a lot of different pool builders, and they're gorgeous. But what was that process like, and will the product last? You see, with Duplessis, those are resounding check marks. You can go read reviews, and I would always remind you, with Duplessis Builders, you get a 10-year workmanship warranty when the industry standard is 1 year. Why? Because they're the best. DuplessisBuilders.net.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
And make sure you go fill out your bracket. You're going to fill out a bracket anyway. Might as well play our bracket challenge as well. Courtesy of Vex European. If you go to 1045ESPN.com or LouisianaSports.net, go to LouisianaSports.net. You see the bracket challenge tab right there at the top. Winner of our bracket challenge is going to get $1,000 cold hard cash. So you're going to fill out a bracket anyway. Play our bracket challenge. It's free to play. Spread the word. Mama Moscona will be here later in the week to share her bracket with us. Can't wait for that. LouisianaSports.net, the Vex European bracket challenge. Play with us today. By the way, we'll also have prizes for Sweet 16 and Final Four. So even if your bracket gets busted the first day, no worries. You'll still have a chance to win in future rounds. Both Devon Gottschall and Juwan Johnson met with reporters on Monday. Devon Gottschall traded to the Saints from the Patriots. Juwan Johnson re-signed with the Saints as a free agent. Interestingly, the Saints also added Velus Jones over the weekend. Remember Velus Jones, the former Tennessee wide receiver? The Saints added Velus Jones to the roster, but they have him listed officially on the roster as a running back. That's a bit odd. I'm not sure exactly what they're thinking there, but that's something as we get a chance to talk to the coaching staff throughout the offseason. Maybe we'll get more as they get closer to OTAs and things like that. Gottschall, though, talked about obviously coming home and the opportunity to play for the New Orleans Saints.
I mean, just the opportunity to come back home, playing the NFC South. It's my first time playing the NFC. I've been in the NFC since I got in the league, going on year 9. So I'm excited. I know it could be a great opportunity to help with, some of the run defense here. And I'm excited to do whatever I can to help the team to win. One game at a time. Got some great veterans on the team like Cam, Tyron, Demario Davis. So I'm excited to get to work with those guys, a lot of other guys, and put this thing together and get some wins.
And most of our conversation about Bo Davis has been from the LSU perspective, with good reason. I think this is a dramatically more Bo Davis's decision to leave LSU for the Saints impacts LSU dramatically more than it does New Orleans, for a lot of reasons. Recruiting stability, financially, all those things. It's not to say he won't make an impact on New Orleans. I think he will. He's an excellent defensive line coach. I just think that the effect of him leaving LSU is greater than the effect of him joining New Orleans. But Devon Gottschall talked about getting to work with Bo Davis.
Yeah, Bo, I had a chance to meet him this season at LSU. Bo, he's a very energetic guy, great coach. Nothing but great things about him. I know a lot of guys at Alabama that he coached also too, so it's going to be a very exciting process to work with Bo. Never worked with him, but always heard a lot of great things about him. But she's kind of like the same kind of tree, like the Pete Jenkins tree, the Bo Davis. It's a lot of coaches in the NFL, D-line coaches taking that, like Bill Belichick. All those guys kind of learn from the same tree, Nick Saban, all those guys. So it's going to be exciting to work with Bo. Like I said, never worked with him, but I'm very excited for it.
Shout out Coach Pete, GOAT, real recognized real and all that stuff. But he's right. I mean, Bo's great. He's a great technician. And as you're changing from a 4-3 to a 3-4, which Bo is coach. Remember when Bo was at Alabama with Nick, and they ran a primary 3-4 with an interior nose, which is what Devon Gottschall is going to play. You're talking about a guy that has experience coaching in that defensive front as well. So with Gottschall there, my sincere hope for Bo Davis is that he can maximize Brian Brzee. Because we have seen the Saints invest heavily in the defensive line, from drafting Brzee, drafting Peyton Turner, who's obviously gone, drafting Marcus Davenport, who's obviously gone, drafting Isaiah Foskey, who's bordering on bust territory right now. You've paid Carl Granderson. You've now paid Chase Young. They have invested heavily in the defensive front. And last year, you were in the middle of the league in the NFL in sacks, and you were second to last in the NFL in run defense. So you have not gotten a return on your investment in your defensive line. It's on Bo Davis to fix that. We'll see if he can. Gottschall, I think, could be a good piece. Now, the Saints also invested heavily in Juwan Johnson. 3 years, $31 million. I love Juwan Johnson's story. Talked about this. He was Juwan when he signed with the Saints as a UDFA. Was good enough to come on the show a couple times, and it is an amazing story. A guy that was a wide receiver, Penn State to Oregon, signs with the Saints as a UDFA. They converted him to tight end. He was willing to do that. He, and his wife are also social media influencers. They've been very public about their challenges with starting a family, which ultimately they did, which is amazing. Like, I feel so good for Juwan Johnson on a personal human level, to have persevered the way he has, to have made the team, now finally get this big contract, 3 years, $30 million. And I hope it goes amazingly for him and for the Saints. The issue that I have is not Juwan or the player. It's just where the Saints are and where they should be allocating financial resources. I don't think you should be committing long-term deals to players that necessarily, I shouldn't say aren't going to help you win, because he will. I think he's a good player. But when you have a lower ceiling, my contention has just been the whole focus of the team needs to be a financial cap reset with younger players instead of paying veteran players. But what's done is done, and now I hope Juwan Johnson crushes it and is awesome here in New Orleans. And he said it point blank. This is where he's spent his NFL career and where he wants to be.
This is home for us. I think we've had our greatest challenges here. We've had our biggest disappointments here, raised our kids. New Orleans has shown us how to grow up. We were little kids, I feel like, coming here at 23 years old, 24 years old, and now we're 28, 29, and New Orleans accepts us with open arms. I think it was only right, to come back and kind of finish something that we started. So I'm really, really appreciative of being here. I'm thinking, that the front office, thinking the head coach is entrusted in me and bringing me back, and so ready to get to work and do more of what, we planned to do when I first got here in 2020.
That's the kind of thing that endears you to a place. I don't know what the open market was for Juwan. I don't know if he tested it. His agent, he's represented by Vayner Sports. That's AJ Vaynerchuk, who's been a friend of the show as well. And I haven't spoken to him to know what the market might have been like for Juwan. If he just wasn't interested in looking around because he wanted to be here, or if the Saints gave him the best offer. Well, I don't know. All that's to be determined. Maybe something will come out on that. But when you hear a guy talk about, this is home, this is where I want to be, it's where we want to raise our kids, it's endearing. That's how you endear yourself to a fan base, to a community. And he is that. But it also has to translate into productivity on the field. I love this, too. Juwan Johnson in this press conference did detail a late-night phone call conversation that he had with Kellen Moore.
I called Kellen. Man, it was like 11, 12 o'clock at night. And I was just like, man, like, what's the deal? Like, are you guys, what is it? Like, why do you guys want me, really? And so, he just told me, like, we got on the phone, man, and we talked it out, and really on like what the plan is, what his vision is for the team. And because I was up at night, I told Shane, I was like, Shane, I gotta call this dude. Like, I was like, I can't sleep, because we were deciding between teams. Like, I'm deciding like where to put my family for the next 3 years, 3 or so years. And so I really had to just like understand where we wanted to go, because something in my heart was telling me, man, I gotta stay in New Orleans. But if I stay in New Orleans, it gotta make sense. I gotta make a wise decision.
Would love to know, what some of the other teams that were interested with those deals, those contracts look like, kind of like as we were talking about. But conversation late night with Kellen Moore is what convinced him to stay here. Now the onus is on Kellen Moore to make sure they properly use Juwan Johnson. And it's interesting because as we've talked about this from the time the Saints first identified Kellen Moore, and remember that process was a long process with Kellen Moore because he was coaching the Super Bowl. So we had a lot of time to dissect all of it. But we talked about the tight ends. From having Dalton Schultz in Dallas and then having Dallas Goedert in Philly. Dalton and Dallas and Philly. But his willingness to use the tight end, but they're more prototype tight ends, not converted receivers like Juwan Johnson. So it's a little interesting how that may fit. But I want to remind you this. If you were not here at the beginning of the show today, we talked to Will Clapp. And I love it. Like this is probably the most encouraging soundbite from anybody that I've heard so far about playing in Kellen Moore's offense.
By far my favorite offense I've ever played in. Not just saying that because it's just fun, but like truly is my favorite offense I've played in through college or pros. Everything is, fast, to a point. There's not, everything has a meaning. It's not like, crazy wordy where you see something like everything he puts in this offense is like to the point. And, we just had a bunch of fun under him. I mean, that was my main, memory from playing with him with the Chargers. And I'm excited to get back to it.
Super encouraging, man. It was Will Clapp on this show a couple hours ago. And look, I mean, my assumption is they're going to go draft an offensive weapon at 9. I think that's what they're going to do. We'll see. But you got Juwan Johnson back. You'll have Olave and Shaheed healthy. Derek Carr's back. Kamara's back, an aging Kamara, but back. See what else they can get. But I'm excited about Kellen Moore. Nothing else. At least offensively what he may bring. But long way to go. All right, it's after further review. Let's put a button on the show next. Otto will be here for Otto Locks. Posts are already up at LouisianaSports.net if you want them, but Otto Locks is next here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. You've been injured in an accident. It's not your fault. You know what to do. Do what injured people in our state have done for more than 3 decades. Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Always love what Gordon and his team do, the way that they're all active on social media. Really cool St. Patty's Day post today on St. Patrick's Day. And I know Gordon's talked about this before, on St. Patrick's Day in honor of some of their Irish heritage. They have green milk and green eggs on St. Patrick's Day. Gordon does a great job of sharing his life and his family on top of everything that he shared with his business community. And his NIL deals in so many ways that he's been involved in our community. It's an honor for us to be able to talk to you about Gordon every single day. And, of course, if you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault. Do what injured people in our state have done for more than 30 years. Go to getgordon.com, getgordon.com, or call the 888-8888. You know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Down the stretch we come, final segment here on a Monday edition of AFR, presented by Relief Windows. One thing left to do. Let's find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Total Maintenance. Now's the time to get that AC unit checked before it really gets hot. Normally $179, just $79 when you mention Otter Locks. Total Maintenance, 480-1000.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet.
Otter, how are you?
Oh man, we are busy. But
I believe it.
You know, looking at the college stuff. No, tomorrow we'll get that first four underway in Dayton, so we'll have some stuff on that. But it's a pause for college basketball.
Yeah.
So, but we're looking, and I'm going to tell you, just generally speaking about the brackets, man, it kind of looks like the haves and have-nots. I'm talking about. There'll be some 5-12, 6-11 upsets and things like that. But for the most part, who is going to win besides a handful of teams? The whole thing. So, Florida, Auburn, Duke, certainly. And then you get into, is Houston, is Tennessee, but I mean, it looks real top heavy, and nobody looks better than Florida right now. So, size, speed, skill, athleticism, and depth. Pretty good thing. So
it plays.
Only thing is the coach has never won a tournament game, Todd Golden. So we'll see about that. Let's go to the NBA tonight, Matthew. And
all right.
It's strictly a fade. So we're fading the Philadelphia 76ers. Big spread. But here's the deal. Houston is going to run out to a big lead. They like to get up. They're going to get up at least 20, 25 in this game against Houston. They are tied, but they own the tiebreaker right now with the Memphis Grizzlies for the division. So hopefully they win it. Got to play on that. But if they do get up 25, hedge some in case they put in the bench and let the Sixers come back and maybe middle it or even cover the spread back door. And then we're going against the Miami Heat as well. Early game tonight. The New York Knicks. So the Heat has just been. They kind of gave up. They traded Butler. It has been a disaster. So that Southeast Division with Orlando and Atlanta, they're the two leaders right now. First, second, they both have losing records. So the top three teams in that division have losing records right now. So we're going to go against the Heat with the Knicks and then with the Houston Rockets against the Philadelphia 76ers.
All right, the Knicks and the Rockets. By the way, when you gave Knicks, it was 7. It's 6.5 now, so an even better price.
Better.
Yep.
Even better.
Where are you tomorrow, Otter?
We are at Doe's Eat Place. Doe's Eat Place before we head to Burrage for March Madness for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday shows.
Awesome. Those are always fun. A couple of years ago, I remember the table of Yahoos next to y'all as y'all were, again, going head-to-head in a first-half total play. I think it went the Otter. Was that last year or 2 years ago?
That was last year. 2 years ago. That's every year. Guess what? We're going to hammer them again. So
it's worth listening to. You'll always get action on that Thursday, Friday, the tournament. All right, Otter. Doe's tomorrow. Y'all check out Otter and Hanny 11 to 1 for live at lunch. Thanks, Otter.
Good luck.
All right, man. Be well. We're brought to you by Parish Construction and Roofing, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Tell you every day, do business with someone you know. Hey, y'all, look, of course, this weekend, whether it was some terrible weather that rolled through on Saturday, and a lot of people were affected by it. Listen, at Parish, we cover the whole state of Louisiana. It doesn't matter if you're in the 318, the 985, the 504, the 225, the 337. We got you covered at Parish Construction and Roofing. So, if you had any damage, we'd love to come help you out. Tell you all the time, do business with someone you know. We're local. It's me. It's Terrio. It's Richard Tilley. It's Joe Morales. It's Trent Davis. It's our whole crew. We'd be thrilled to help. So if you had shingles blown off, Unfortunately, I know there are areas where there were tornadoes. A lot of people need help all the way down to the decking. It's where Parrish Construction and Roofing. We can handle every component of it, from, of course, the re-roof, replacing shingles, all the way down to the decking, electrical, whatever you need. We can help you out with all of it. One stop. And we're local. ParrishBuilt.com, ParrishBuilt.com. Do business with someone you know. That's us. Parrish Construction and Roofing, ParrishBuilt.com. And by the way, we do offer financing. If you need help financing the entire roof, financing the deductible, we can help with that. ParrishBuilt.com. Okay, y'all, let's get out of here. Muse Pauly, thanks. You miss anything? AFR On Demand presented by Brett Golf was a really good show. Thanks to Will Clapp, who was here in Hour 1. Mark Wise of ESPN. College basketball analyst was here in Hour 2. David Dellucci just a bit ago. And always thanks to Jimmy Ott for joining us. Tomorrow's going to be a busy show. Lee Feinswag will be here to pick up Purdue to win the Natty. Lee Sterling will be here tomorrow as well to give us some college basketball plays for the tourney. Don't you miss it. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, let me remind you about the Williamson Eye Center. Dr. Blake Williamson and the gang over at the Williamson Eye Center are just the best. 924-2020, 924-2020. It's not really even my opinion. I mean, the Williamson Eye Center has been around for more than 70 years. But Dr. Blake goes all over the world, literally all over the world, lecturing and presenting in the field of ophthalmology. Just last week, he was in Dallas at a conference speaking. And the reason I like to stress that is because for me, when I had LASIK, one of my biggest concerns was I was scared of putting a laser on my eye. And one of the things I learned is throughout the process is LASIK is actually the safest elective procedure literally in the history of mankind. So educate yourself. Inform yourself. Sit down with Dr. Blake and have that conversation, and you'll come away feeling the same way I did. Thrilled with your options and thrilled to throw away the contacts and readers forever. 924-2020.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.